hot-air balloon capital of the world. This is live coverage of the 51st Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta and the 66th Gordon Bennett Coupe Aeronautique. It's Balloon Fiesta Live, powered by ExxonMobil. And now, direct from the rooftop studio at Balloon Fiesta Park in Albuquerque, New Mexico, here are your hosts, Glenn Moyer and Art Lloyd Jr.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Albuquerque and the 51st Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, powered by ExxonMobil. You're looking live if you're online at Balloon Fiesta Live. If you're on the park, you're looking live as well. Just a little more closely, I suppose.
Some people might be sleeping, though, but not now.
I wouldn't blame them if they are.
It's time to go.
No, it's time to be up and bright and bushy-tailed and cheery and all that sort of stuff.
Because it's going to be a great day again here. Day three
already.
Yep,
Can you believe that?
I know.
We're a third of the way through.
Somebody said we have 9 events left, and now we're into that. So, yep.
I thought we had more than that. 1, 2,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, after today we'll have 9.
After today we'll have 9. It doesn't matter. We're going to be here for several more days.
And all of them right here on Balloon Fiesta Live.
Indeed, all of them on Balloon Fiesta Live. We are, of course, also working with the folks at Gordon Bennett TV, Regan Titlow and his team. They will be doing updates throughout the day, keeping us up to speed.
We'll check in with them at 6:30 this morning, and then again at 9:30. They told us last night 3 teams had landed. Teams tend to fly through the night
and land usually early in the morning if they're going to land, or late in the day.
Yeah, that's when they make those decisions.
Right.
So we'll get an update because they're farther east than us, which means the sun is up sooner.
That's true.
And so the idea of we might have some other landings. They've been through this, actually the second night now, so we'll see.
This is when it starts to become a question of how much ballast do you have, and the late evening or afternoon launches, or landings rather, are usually when they're making the decision, do we have enough ballast to make it through the night or not?
Yeah.
And if the answer is maybe not, then it's usually wiser to land in daylight later in the day.
Exactly. So we'll be checking in with those guys again at 6:30, and then right after our competition this morning, at 9:30.
I was about to say, this morning is the first day of competition to crown a new champion for Balloon Fiesta, and of course, we'll kick it all off with the Sid Cutter Memorial Task.
We will. The idea is to put a boat out in the middle of the field, and that becomes the target. In fact, the best scoring position is actually on the bow of the boat. And the idea is that all the area around the boat is water.
Yeah.
So that if your marker falls in the boat, that's okay, but if it falls outside the boat, it just went in the water.
If it hits the boat and slides off, and we've seen that happen.
Because it's like, where it ends.
Splash. Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there is an X that is actually just off the bow that we measure from.
Right.
So even being a perfect score on the bow is actually
it's a
number of feet
away.
It's a few feet
from
away.
The center of the
X.
X.
That's the perfect score.
Exactly. You know, it's a little confusing sometimes for pilots who always have it in their brain. The best score is right down on the center of the X.
Exactly.
And in this case, it's not. The best score is on the bow of the boat. And this all goes back to a story. I don't remember all the details, but it's a story about.
I make them up every year.
Sid Cutter. Well, yeah, and if we never let the facts stand in the way of a good story, I always say. But it goes back to a time when Sid was flying in the national championships up in Indianola, Iowa, and they had a task where there was a boat on a small pond, and I don't remember what happens from there, but that's how we came up with the Sid Cutter Memorial Task. And we have the SS Sid Cutter out on the field, or we will have later today a nice little black and white boat that was all fixed up, I'm sure, by our scoring team, and maybe
they usually give it a fresh paint job every year.
Every year?
Yep, every year they do it.
Right.
We do that, so we'll see. Now, in addition to the boat, we do put a couple of islands out there.
Right.
And, of course, then there is the actual shoreline. Now, these are all indicated by white flagging markers, areas.
That 18-inch wide freezer paper kind of stuff that we use to draw figures on the ground with.
The islands look like right angles, and then the shore just looks like a big rectangle.
Yeah.
So if you decide to go for a safe score, you can throw your marker on one of the islands or into the landmass, and we'll measure from the X as well. Now, that's a little bit away, but you will get a score.
It's a further distance, but you're guaranteed to get a score.
If you get in there, yes.
Yeah, as opposed to going for the boat and missing
And have it slide
getting
off
in the water, and you get no score.
Exactly.
So this is one of those what we call a high risk, high reward
Yes.
type of task, because there's a very high risk in going for that really good score at the boat versus going for a okay score on one of the islands or the larger shoreline landmass.
Exactly, exactly. Now, a couple of years ago, we did adjust the scoring in that we talked about measuring from the X, so you're going to be in the teens on the boat or in the boat, and you'll be somewhere in the 100 feet or 150 feet if you're on the landmass.
Okay.
But what we will do, if you fall into the water that we've been talking about, we're still going to measure that, but we're going to add 300 feet to it.
Okay, so if you're in the water, you'll score, but you get a huge penalty attached to it.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
It's because we have to go, underwater, scuba gear and all that.
Oh, yeah, snorkels and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that gives more people the opportunity to score.
Okay.
Because all of those points then start adding up towards the cumulative
That's
score
right.
for the overall champion. So we want to start off the week, day one of competition. We want to get as many people to get a score as possible.
Yeah.
So by adding that extra measurement with the penalty, the extra 300 feet, that we'll still have more people score. And the trick here at Balloon Fiesta is not to win every day. The idea is to be in the scoring.
I was
going to
go there. I was going to say most pilots will tell you that the key to winning any balloon competition, if it's a cumulative type thing over several days like we have here, you don't have to win the task every day. You just need to score
every day.
And if you don't score on one day, that usually takes you out of the running for the championship.
Unless everybody
unless there's
else
a
does.
day when like the wind changes and no one gets to the field or something like that. But generally speaking, you don't have to win the task. You don't have to be the best, but you got to be good.
Yeah.
And you got to be consistent. And you want to
Kind of
score
the most
every
consistent.
day. And if you get a score every day, then you're going to be in with a chance for the championship. Good morning, Jewel. Speaking of the SS Cutter task this morning. That's Jackie. I'm sorry. I'm getting
look
old.
past the lights.
I'm sorry. Get my glasses on. Hi, Jackie. How are you?
So our Dawn Patrol team has set up this morning. We're not doing the full show today, but it looks like we have almost all of them out there anyway.
Yeah.
So they're just going to, they've already stood up. They're starting to make some provisions for flight. We haven't talked about the weather. The weather is like really calm and actually really mild up here this morning.
Yeah, it was a little cool when I left the hotel. Reason why I jumped into my jacket as well as the fleece, but already I'm thinking I'm probably going to be climbing out of the jacket. Although the message from the Balloon Fiesta app, and if you don't have that on your phone, you should definitely download that to keep up with everything that's happening here. Their first message out was a chilly morning at Balloon Fiesta. And so I thought, well, okay, I'll grab the jacket just in case. Because where we are here on the rooftop, we're really at the level almost even with the tops of the balloons.
Yes.
And when you just are just sitting, we're not wandering around the field and buying things at the vendors and eating breakfast burritos and all that sort of stuff. Just sitting up here on a chilly morning, it can get a little cool. So I doubled up on the layers, but I'll probably crawl out of this jacket here fairly soon.
I was actually, in looking at the projected wind speeds and temperatures here, I'm thinking I may not take the fleece down on the field for competition.
Could be
which would
warm,
probably
huh?
could be warm, which
Good.
would be a kind of a first. I think for me, I've always had a jacket of some sort on down there. So
I can't recall any time up here on the roof when I've been in just shirt sleeves.
in the morning.
In the mornings. Now, yes, of course, in the afternoon sometimes when it's
Yeah.
in the upper 70s or 80s. But in the mornings, I don't think. I can remember years when I've had on every piece of clothing I packed for the 9 days, and I was still cold. Hey, we also want to mention, by the way, that our Dawn Patrol, as always, is sponsored by the Route 66 Casino Hotel. And we thank them for that and for bringing our Dawn Patrol show to you and to us.
And a number of folks already checking in on our Facebook and YouTube feeds.
And Facebook as well, yeah.
Yep. So I'm trying to we'll try and keep up with some of your comments there as we go through the day. So good morning to all of you there. Good morning to Scottsbluff, Nebraska. And also Adam's checking in from California. He's thinking, he and his family are thinking about driving in from California to check it out. And how long are we going to be here? We're going to be here through Sunday.
Through Sunday, that's right.
It always starts on the first Saturday of October, so you can mark your calendars for the next 50 years as we get to year 100. Always going to start on the first Saturday. So last year, the first Saturday happened to be October 1st, and that means it was as early in as October as ever could be.
Right.
And
This
then
year
is the calendar now. The first Saturday was the 7th.
the 7th, which is as late as it can be.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
And then you can pretty much plan on the fact that just the way the calendar works, it's going to move forward by a day every single year, except on leap years. So when it moves forward 2 days. So the idea is 7th today. So next year, being a leap year, 2024,
Right.
it won't be the 6th, it'll be the 5th when it gets started.
Okay.
And so we'll work our way back to the 1st, and then we jump to the 7th, and we just keep moving forward. The simplest way, we start on the first Saturday of October every single year.
That's right. The first Saturday of October, regardless of what the date is.
And go for 9 days.
Well,
So
hello
we're
in
here through
Mexico.
next Sunday.
Yeah, we've got, I was just checking, somebody had a suggestion here. They ought to have, what's the train that runs, the Rail Runner. Penny Guy says, why don't you get a Rail Runner stop for Balloon Fiesta? It'd be a short walk, or maybe have shuttles operating. So
Actually, we have had multiple conversations over the years with the transit folks about bringing the Rail Runner over and putting a sidebar on here. We've continued to have those conversations and continue to look at the feasibility of that.
Yeah.
And depending on who you talk to, are we going to be able to get enough people in that way? Is it worth that deal? So those are conversations that continually to go on and on and on, and kind of like a lot of other things, sometimes take a lot longer to come to fruition than others.
Say, hey, that's a great idea, let's do it, and it's up and running tomorrow. Liberty, South Carolina, checking in. Gary Foltz says good morning from Indiana. Let's see, just trying to catch some other locations here. There's someone checking in from Belgium. So over in Europe, San Diego, California, Oklahoma, Bath in the UK. That's not far from where I was, down at Longleat just a couple of weeks ago. Anderson, South Carolina. I spent a lot of time there with what used to be Freedom Weekend The Loft. Horicon, Wisconsin. Greenville, South Carolina. Another, that's where originally they started up Freedom Weekend The Loft. I've been having an interesting conversation with one of our viewers from China. He sent me a friend request on Facebook, and we've had a quick couple of conversations. There is a group over in China who are actually building what they hope will be the first type-certified hot air balloon in China, and they're looking forward to maybe bringing it to Fiesta next year. And I was relating to him how some years ago a team from China rented my balloon to fly here at Fiesta, because obviously I'm up here talking.
Right.
And it turns out one of the people who were on that team that flew my balloon here some years ago is now his instructor.
Oh,
and
cool.
So he mentioned that when I mentioned, that a team had flown my balloon here, and he mentioned it to some of his crowd, and the guy said, his instructor said, I was part of that team. I remember all about that and meeting Glenn, and I've got a Chinese flag at my office at home that each of the team members signed for me. But it could be in the very near future we might see the first Chinese certified hot air balloon coming to Balloon Fiesta, because we are, after all, an international event.
Applications for pilots for 2024 will open in the March window.
That's right.
Just like tickets for the 2024. I've already gotten at least 3 emails and or chat comments that have asked, hey, we're coming in 2024. When can I get tickets? And when can I make my hotel reservations and things like that? So the tickets go on sale for all of our events, types of things, general admission, gondola club chasers. That will be in early April.
Okay.
Now, if you're looking to bring your RV here, the RV reservation window opens in early January.
And ends in early January.
Yeah, like a day later.
Yeah.
Hours
fills up
later
really
for some lots, and within a few days after that.
Relative to hotel reservations, back in the day when I first started coming here in the 90s, it was pretty standard practice that, when you checked into your hotel, you immediately made a reservation for the next year.
Right.
Because we had limited hotel space, even for a city the size of Albuquerque. Now we don't face that problem anymore, although we still recommend you make reservations early on if you can. But it's no longer such that you need to reserve like right now for next year. We have obviously a lot of new hotels in the city, so there's a lot more hotel space.
The sooner you book, the better.
Early it's kind of like traffic. Early is better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a camera over at Pilot's Briefing, which started at 6 o'clock, and I think they're talking about weather. I'd like to take a minute and just check in and see if we can pick up what's happening at Pilot's Briefing.
and they had a wind of 280 at 3 knots. And so because of that colder condition, their density altitude is roughly 6,200 feet. So realize that those density altitudes are higher than what your actual altitude is here, and that will probably prevail through much of the week. Okay, so what we've got going on is we have that strong trough across the eastern half of the United States. Counterclockwise flow around that is really going to allow those gas balloons across Oklahoma and Texas to start to speed up today and really get on the expressway as they head towards the East Coast. That counterclockwise flow around the low is actually kind of leading to a little bit of northerly flow for us as well. And so if I show, let's show the detect system. Aloft, you can see that we've got this northwest wind. So what we've got going on right now here is a reverse box. So we've got a weak wind out of the south in the near surface layer, and then a northwest aloft. That I expect to completely change, and here's why. So here we've got, earlier today we had a very similar temperature. It was just a 2-degree spread between us and Santa Fe. Santa Fe sits higher than we do, and we sit much lower. So air tends to drain from Santa Fe down here through the overnight hours and into the morning. And with our clear skies, we've really allowed conditions to radiate fairly well. So given that that's the case, Santa Fe has cooled off significantly in the last few hours. We have not. So that cooling should start to flow downwind, and we should start to see the drainage start to develop through the morning hours this morning. So what I'm saying is that right now we have that light surface wind out of the south. I expect that to change and now come out of the north, and as the day progresses, and that may last for quite some time. In fact, the TAF across the area in Albuquerque, they're calling for a 010 at Sunport, 010 at 6 knots, visibility greater than 6 miles, and few 12,000, and they're carrying that all the way through 2 o'clock today. So that north wind through 2 o'clock. Up at Double Eagle, wind of 320 at 5 knots, visibility greater than 6 miles, and few 12,000 feet. So the point is that they're expecting the north winds to kick in. I'm expecting the north winds to kick in. So for those competitors out there that set up south of the area, I think you're going to struggle to get north. So that might be a clue. The real key, I would suggest, is using this detect system. We've had a few comments that people still aren't getting the remind system. If you have not gotten the remind, we've sent the link out twice. Take a picture of this now. The link is at the top of the screen here, and that updates every 5 minutes, so it gives that information for you. We have the Dawn Patrol pilots that have just taken off behind me, and they are all hanging there doing hardly nothing. So, like I said, if you rely on that low-lying surface wind, it's going to be a struggle to get something consistent. What I think you're going to see overall through the morning hours is that wind's going to switch, and overall we're going to have a general north to south flow. I think in the, let's say, in the 700 to 1,000 foot range, that's going to be your transition, and your most consistent winds are going to be above 700 feet and 1,000 feet. Really above 1,000 feet is where you're going to get in that northwest to southeast flow, and that should hold through the flight window this morning. So given that that's the case, my general expectation is that it's going to be a north to south push, but in that transition zone of 500 to 1,000 feet, I think you'll have some steerage, especially going east and west, but I don't know how much you'll have in terms of getting from the south back to the north. That's my expectation. I think in general, given that we're seeing these light winds right now in the surface layer, my hope is that they stay light, but we'll continue to monitor that through the morning. Just with the temperature differential, it could accelerate out of the north as we get that drainage from Santa Fe kicking in here later this morning. Okay, otherwise it looks like a great day. I have Braxton in the back here as our weather helper this morning. Do we have any launch directors in the area to give Braxton permission to launch the Piebald?
So Brad Tiemeyer there, our chief meteorologist here at Balloon Fiesta, giving the pilots the scoop on the weather, especially for the competition today.
Yeah.
And so now I know why it feels warmer up here, because we actually have just a very slight south drainage.
That's right. As opposed to the usual north out of the canyon.
That would be into our face.
Right.
Yeah, and so things are being blocked. Any breeze that's coming is being blocked by our backdrop here.
Right.
And then with our heaters. But as he said, that's going to change here fairly quickly, and so all the passes will be from the north to the south, is what they're expecting to happen today.
Yeah, and maybe a little east-west steerage, but
not too much.
A great deal. So
yeah,
I would
but
expect we'll see most
very
of the winds.
slow
Very
winds.
slow, yeah.
Very slow winds as
So
well.
it's going to get crowded over the target, quite
think you're right.
possibly.
I
Quite
think
possibly.
so.
As we see with Dawn Patrol, they're all kind of bunched up out there, rather than, we talked yesterday about how sometimes they kind of try to launch all together and stay in a nice little tight formation. They've done that this morning, as opposed to launching one at a time individually, where they get a great deal more distance between themselves. And so we may see the same sort of thing happening over the targets today.
Yeah, look at that shot of all
Yeah,
of them
that
hanging
shot.
together.
See, they're all just hanging right there together. And again, not a lot of wind. It's probably 0 gusting to 0.2 this morning. So, yeah, they're not going far, and they're all just kind of hanging around with each other, which is fun. That makes for some great photographs.
And it will make for some very interesting competition flights here today.
It will.
Because, you know, even making your balloon go up and down, which is the way we steer, if
Right.
I can use that word, even that sometimes will get you over a couple feet one way or the other as
Yeah.
you play those. And so there's going to be, you're going to see a lot of, I believe, of bouncing up and down as pilots are trying to figure out any way at all. I mean, I could see them, you know, flapping their arms a lot, trying to get some wings to go.
We've seen that where a pilot, you know, reaches out like he has a paddle with him and trying to row the balloon just one to the left or right just slightly to get to the poles later in the week that we'll have and things like that. So it can get comical sometimes. But you're right. I always use the term bobbing because it reminds me when I was a kid and I was learning to fish with my dad. You had these little red and white floaters.
Oh, yeah, right.
Floats that you put on your fishing line
yeah.
and you toss it out there with a little spinning reel.
Yeah.
And then it would just kind of bob up and down on the water. And you watched for it to go, you know, to
'Cause you got a
dive
hook.
underneath.
Yeah.
Because that meant you had a fish on the hook. And then balloons, as we steer them, as you say, the only real control we have is over up and down, ascending and descending. And so I always liken it to a cork bobbing on the water where they're doing a lot of that.
And your comment about 0 gusting to 0, we
Yeah.
actually have a weather station with an
I know.
anemometer right here on the corner of the roof. I just looked at it, and it is indeed 0 gusting,
to 0. Yeah.
But out of the west-southwest.
Yeah, a little bit different, direction than we would normally have.
You know, well, of course, that's always misleading because that's what it was the last time it actually registered any direction.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, yeah.
Hey, and of course,
It also says it's 54.2 degrees.
and that's pretty mild.
It is.
I mean,
It
we've
is.
had mornings when it's been mild all week, which has been great. Because as I said earlier, when we're just sitting up here on a cold morning, it can get really bitterly cold. But we haven't experienced that, and hopefully won't. Although it is supposed to get a little chillier. The further into the week we get, it will be colder next weekend. If you're planning to come for next weekend, pack an extra layer perhaps, because it may well be a bit on the chilly side compared to what we've been enjoying here this morning. We've talked a lot about competition. We should mention that before competition, we will have essentially a mass ascension off the field.
Yes.
We actually have the pilots that they're kind of have divided themselves voluntarily into 2 groups. There are those who want to participate in the competition, and there are those who don't. We generally refer to them as Fiesta flyers, fun flyers. They will, as normal, inflate and launch and fly from the field first thing this morning, right after Balloon of the Day and our national anthem. And we have to do that somewhat rapidly because we get the field cleared as quickly and efficiently as we can so that we can then flag off the scoring areas, get the boat out and the islands marked off and all that sort of stuff. So there's a bit of a break between the 2 groups, but if you're here for the first day expecting to see a mass ascension of balloons, you will see that. It'll just be a slightly smaller group.
Well, yeah, just about half.
Yeah.
Like we talked last night about how does a pilot get in and those types of things, and who gets selected for the glow,
glows
that
and
kind of
whatnot.
thing. So that's one of the other questions on the application. Do you want to participate in competition? Or
Right.
not? and we allow about 300 of them, or just over half, to select that box and be chosen for competition. And it really does kind of self-select out nicely.
Yes.
So there are those that would like to do that and those that would not maybe. But so yeah, it's almost half and half of flying out and then the other half flying in.
And so during the morning, if you're on the field, we've had pilot briefing, or pilot briefing is going on right now. But eventually those competitive pilots, they will get back in their trucks and they will be leaving the field.
So don't panic.
So don't panic. It doesn't mean anything's been canceled. Like, oh my gosh, where are all the balloons going? About half the group will get back in the trucks and they will leave, because the competition, the nature of it, is what we call a fly-in task. The targets will be identified. Will be identified. Boy, that green chili stew was good. Even the second time. The targets will be identified here on the field, and so the pilot's task is to go a specified distance away. Usually it's only a mile. We don't send them a long way out.
Yeah, minimum of a mile.
Minimum of a mile, but you can go 5, 10, 15 miles if you want. Most won't do that. Most will go about the minimum, 1 mile away, find a launch site on their own that they believe the winds will then carry them back here to the field and to the targets. So, yeah, you'll see a line of vehicles eventually leaving the field, and that will be the competitive pilots who are going out to search for their launch sites and get staged for the second half of this morning's flight activities.
Let's check in with a few more folks here before we head up to Gordon Bennett TV. So
okay.
we already talked about California. Mexico is in the house. South Dakota, Germany, Havana, Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Hershey, Pennsylvania, another one from Mexico, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Spartanburg, South Carolina, Central Minnesota, Arizona, Grapevine, Texas, Hawaii, El Paso, Mexico City, Tallahassee, Florida, and somebody's looking for a date, I guess. They're looking for Rebecca. Yeah, okay. Midland, Texas. Just a few of the folks that are checking in here this morning.
Yeah, I've got Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Kansas, South Carolina, northern Minnesota, Texas. Here's a comment. Kim Stratton says she saw Team Poland flying by my house in Lawton, Oklahoma this morning. So there's an update on the Gordon Bennett. We'll be getting more on that here shortly. Somebody checking in from Ruidosa, not far away. Keller, Texas. Tallahassee, Florida. Mico, Texas. Hot Springs, Arkansas, or Arkansas, if you wish. Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Marcia Lambertson's watching. Hi, Marcia. Good morning from Indiana, says Carol Rainwater. Campbell, good morning, Carol. Let's see, Florida, where it's a beautiful 61 degrees. All right, that's nice. And I checked in with someone who's watching from Bristol, England. Said it's dinner time on that side of the pond while we're just enjoying breakfast. So, yeah, folks checking in from all around the world. Dallas, Texas.
Our Albertsons Market cash register folks are checking in again this morning.
Are they?
Yeah, so you can go shopping and keep up with Balloon Fiesta Live and what's happening at Balloon Fiesta while you're shopping at Albertsons.
We were talking about my friend from China earlier, and Raven O'Shields says somewhere I have a picture of my grandfather's balloon, Wayne O'Shields, going over the Great Wall of China. I recall that. That was when a group out of South Carolina, Wayne O'Shields being amongst them, took their balloons over and did fly over the Great Wall of China, but we were talking about the Chinese now bringing their own balloon, perhaps here to Fiesta in the very near future. But yes,
someone was asking.
Wayne and I were good friends for a number of years.
Yeah, someone was asking about why was the Chick-fil-A balloon spinning.
Oh,
and we'll explain it to everybody in just a second, but our crack audience on here
someone explained about turning vents?
Already explained about turning vents.
All right, very good.
That way the Chick-fil-A logo is always pointed at a camera.
That's
so
right.
that no matter when you take a picture of the Chick-fil-A balloon, you're going to catch it in that spin and be able to see the logo. That's exactly what is happening there. Craig Kennedy, one of the better pilots at making that happen.
Yes, indeed. Whitney Blake Berangi, I hope that's right, Whitney, says, hello from Charlotte, North Carolina. Are the RC balloons there this year? Yes, indeed, they are. We had a number of them inflated on the field yesterday. Do you know the schedule better than I as to when they'll be back?
I believe they're scheduled again on Wednesday and Friday, and then Saturday night for the Glow.
Okay.
I think that, if I remember correctly, that's the schedule.
The RC balloons are radio control balloons, if you're not familiar with that term. The little mini-me's, I call them, because so many of them are, in fact, literally just replicas of the real larger balloons, the manned balloons. And so, yes, they are indeed here.
Have their own launch sites, their own pilot badges, their own briefing, their own scanning in to be able to...
by way of housekeeping, is our power cord on down there? Because I'm getting a low battery signal on my iPad.
We'll check it here in a minute.
Okay, yeah.
We're just
We're going to
waiting.
be going up to Gordon Minute TV in a second, take a break, and so we can
just
check
waiting for the word that they are ready to go up there. Oh, excellent.
They are ready. Okay.
Well, then let's do that. We've again, of course, been talking about the 66th Gordon Bennett gas balloon race launched out of here Saturday night. 16 teams got in the air, 16 balloon teams got in the air out of the 17, and we've been tracking them because they are on a distance race. And so here's the latest on the Gordon Bennett. Let's go up to the Gordon Bennett TV studio at the museum and Regan Tetlow.
Also here in the Gordon Bennett TV studio with me, Regan Tetlow, and Thomas Hora. Good morning, Thomas.
Good morning, Regan.
34 hours ago, exactly, the race started, and where we at right now, we got USA 1779 kilometers, France 1783 kilometers, and currently in the lead, Poland 2, 806 kilometers. Thomas, what a night.
A fierce fight amongst the balloons to get into the right positions. They were trying all kinds of altitudes, and it was a back and forth for the first place. It was USA 1, and it was France. I see Germany was in the lead as well for a while. So there's some fierce competition there right now.
Let's have a look at a photograph of the sunrise as it's happening. We've got a beautiful... Now we're just going to do the sunrise and the morning videos actually from the teams that we've got. That's what we're going to start with. There's our beautiful sunrise, and we caught up with France 1 with the two Benoits, this one.
Good morning all, this is France 1 calling you from somewhere in Oklahoma. The sun is rising now and we are waiting for to climb and to find some more good winds. So have a nice day and keep watching Gordon Bennett TV. Thank you.
Great video of these two. I mean, Benoit himself was also an event director in Tulum, so he's a very accomplished pilot, and they are so nice. I mean, they are having fun. You can really see that they're enjoying it.
Yeah, I do too. Great, the French style. He's got some fantastic music as well. Really enjoy being around him. Also, the French too have been with us. Eric Desailliers is
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello from France 2 in Oklahoma. The night was quite okay. A bit cold, but that's fine. Sunrise is in a few moments. Seems to be pretty clear and everything is fine. Hello.
It's a beautiful sunrise. You get to see some good sights with gas ballooning, Thomas.
Oh yes, you do. Sunrises like that, sunsets, the nights as over the United States, because you're not so polluted with light. It's beautiful stars. You see falling stars, and these two I consider as one of the ones we should look out for the end of the race. I think we say in German they have the knives in the mouth,
Right.
you know.
Yes.
So they're going for it.
Interesting. I love this part of the competition. We're kind of in the middle now, and it's really starting to formulate and everything. Let's get into it. Let's get the tracks on the screen. Tell us about the overnight action, Thomas.
So you see the balloons were moving from somehow the Texas Panhandle across to Oklahoma. They actually were trying different altitudes. You see that lot of change in direction of the balloons. This is, if you do it during night, this is due to altitude changes you are doing. So you are going either higher or lower. It means they were looking to get into the best position, and most of the balloons are trying to get to the southeast. That would be the best, you know, getting somewhere in this area, Tulsa. That would be a really good point. And what you also can see, there's two balloons flying really low. They are flying like at 700 meters, which is about 2,000 feet, and they're taking the low-level jet down there. So there's a low-level jet. They are flying with high speed towards the east. and trying to catch the wind, which we'll get to later on.
Command center looking at the what's happening right now with some action, potential action. Tell me about that.
So the command center does a great job. Here you see a picture of the command center. There's a huge screen there, and they are watching the balloons. And what maybe some people don't see, but in the background they are working with air traffic control to clear off different restricted airspaces. So today we are a holiday in the United States, and most of the restricted airspaces, MOAs as well, that is a military operational area, are closed today. They have holidays as well. But if you are active, it's not impossible to fly with a gas balloon through it. The command center calls ahead, tries to clear up the MOAs, tries to open up the restricted airspaces so that the balloons can fly smoothly. So there's a lot of air traffic work down there. They are doing 4 hours, and there's a lot of people there doing this.
What happens now then? I guess in a few days.
Yes. So well, we think they will be flying into North Carolina or Virginia, and when doing so, there's a lot of military areas. There's missile range. Now these respective persons or the respective responsibles and try to negotiate with them if aids will be open or not. And if you do it ahead of time, you have a higher chance that they are open, and also if you do it ahead of time and you see you cannot open it, it gives the pilots more chance to steer around these MOAs.
Well, let's get the maps back on, and let's just jump forward a little bit and talk about what we think is going to be happening next from your perspective on the outlook.
Yeah, so right now, as I said, we are here somewhere in Oklahoma, and if we could go to the high level wind chart, this is where you have the wind. So just to give you an idea, this is where the balloons are right now, and the green or blue and green means slower winds, and yellow means faster winds, and the red or a blue that's like extremely fast winds. So what the balloons are trying to do is to maneuver either more to the east to get here into these winds, or to the northeast to get into these winds here. In high altitude, this altitude is now 3,000 meters, like 10,000 feet, to catch the wind which brings them and carries them quickly over to South Carolina, North Carolina, to this area here. But that's just half part of the story. What they will do is once they have been carried over here, and maybe we can see the next slide, this is the lower level wind. So they will go here, and then they will drop and will try to cruise along the coast up to the north. So and the quicker you do it, the more time you will have to cruise up to the north of the coast, because the further north you get, the further is your distance. So the distance landing, let's say it's Savannah, is in distance than landing close to Baltimore or Philadelphia.
Yes.
Philadelphia and Baltimore is much further.
Where have you flown in the States?
So I did 3 races. One landed in New Mexico, Lamy, New Mexico. One we have landed close to Denver, and one we have landed in Missouri, close to St. Louis.
When it comes to flying in Gordon Bennett's, Thomas, for you, which one is the one that you always, the outstanding memory? Which one springs to mind?
I think it's probably my most beautiful flight was the flight going from Belgium to Finland. Where we went from Belgium, crossing the Channel over England, over the North Sea, over Norway, Sweden, Baltic Sea, and then landing into Finland. That was just amazing sights, the fjords in Norway, and that's beautiful, just beautiful.
Incredible, eh? The 66 Coupe Aeronautic Gordon Bennett continues. We have our 4 live shows today. Remember to subscribe onto YouTube, the hashtag GB2023 for all your pics of where you might be watching the action. And our 4 live shows. I know other people in Europe watching as well, and they don't want to do the calculations, so I'll tell you the times. Our first show every morning 06:30, it's 14:30 in Europe. Our second show is 09:30 here local, which is 17 in Europe. Our third show 1300, 1 p.m. here, 2100, 9 p.m. in Europe. And our final show, our evening wrap up, 8 p.m. here, 2000, 4 a.m. in Europe. So make sure you set your timers for that. We'll be back with our next show, 9:30. But it's back to the guys on the rooftop studio with our...
Thanks,
All
Regan.
right, thanks, Regan, and Tomas for all of that update.
I'm glad he
And-
did the time conversions for
Yeah.
everybody.
I'm glad you did too. I'm pretty good at converting from here to London because I spend some time in the UK each year. But beyond that, getting over into Europe, I'd get lost. So, yeah, well done,
Yeah.
those guys.
You bet. So the things continue, and like you said, today was going to be kind of the day. You're going to see where you're going to
Today's
go.
when the everybody kind of went the same direction to get to Texas and the Panhandle. They're now between, look like Dallas and Oklahoma City, basically along the I-30 corridor. I-35 runs north and south between Dallas and Oklahoma City. And so now is when the strategy starts to play out. Do you go high? Do you go
Yeah.
low? And which direction? So
And
we'll start to see that pack split.
And hopefully you planned well to put yourself in a good position. I'm always reminded of like the long distance, the 500-mile car races.
Yes.
You know, they say you don't need to be leading at the beginning. You only need to be leading at the end. Here, you just need to get the farthest.
Right.
So you want to continue to keep yourself in a good position.
Allows them to make essentially sort of a last lap pass
Right. Yeah.
and get across victory lane.
Play
Get across
the,
the checkered flag.
Play
yeah.
it conservative early in the race, so
Yeah.
that you have the ballast literally to be able to make that piece at the end. So,
Yeah. Speaking of ballooning events, we had a comment on our Facebook page a little earlier. Masayo Nishikubo says, hello from Saga, Japan. We're also having the Saga International Balloon Fiesta from November 1 to 5. He says, I'm one of the event organization members.
We have about 1,200 navigators that are registered directly with Balloon Fiesta
Okay.
and work directly on Balloon Fiesta events.
I gotcha.
So manning sponsor hospitality, doing field work, our staff, our navigators
Right,
here,
yep.
so they're helping us. So those are the people that staff all of the operations. But then many of our chase crews are volunteers as well.
Right.
So when you bring them into the number, then we start getting up to the 3,000 number.
Okay.
So yes.
Yeah, because a lot of pilots travel here from some distance, as we know, including international pilots who can't necessarily afford or otherwise bring 4 or 5 crew people with
Right,
them, and
right.
so they're dependent on Albuquerque, literally families who live here in the Albuquerque area that volunteer to come out and crew for those pilots.
So that's where we so we have
So
a big
that's
thank you
when you
party
get
to
to
the,
the big
that's how we
numbers.
get to the 3,000
Okay.
because and we're always looking for folks to do that. There is an online Chase Crew sign up that you can do before Balloon Fiesta. If you're out here, there is a Chase Crew tent over by the Sid Cutter Pavilion, and it's a great way to get involved in the sport. Sometimes people always say, I'd really like to take a ride. So I'd like to get more involved in ballooning.
Yeah.
And how do I do that? Well, you can go pay for a ride with folks like Rainbow Riders and Scotty Appleman and those groups or other ballooning groups that are out there. Or I think the best way to do this is
Volunteer to crew. Get hooked up with a
Exactly.
local pilot in your area, crew for them, and generally you will eventually earn yourself a free balloon ride, and those are always far more fun.
Sure. And then you continue to crew. It's a great social activity.
Yes.
And many pilots started as crew members.
crew members. That's
Went
right.
out, found, how many times have we heard the story? How'd you get into ballooning? Well, this balloon flew over my house, and I went out and helped them pack it up that day.
Yeah.
And they asked me to come out and start crewing with them, and I crewed for a little while, and then I realized I wanted to learn to fly.
Well, my one of my past former crew chiefs, my dear friend Gary Rominger out in California, when he was my crew chief, he would say constantly, he says, I don't have any desire to be a pilot. I just want to be the best crew chief ever.
Yeah.
And he was that. But he also, when I moved from California to Texas, leaving Balloon Life magazine to work at Thunder and Colt Balloons in Longview, Gary then decided that it was time to become a pilot, and
Yeah.
he ended up buying a balloon. I tried to sell him my balloon, Yellow Rose, and he said no. And then he bought a brand new balloon and contacted me and said, here's my color pattern. Are you okay with this? Because it was very, very close to the color pattern of Yellow Rose. And Gary was the kind of guy that he had a young kid that crewed and kind of a student pilot with him. And when Gary decided to retire from flying, he sold the balloon to him for $1.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, for Gary's a classic example. Came out and just got involved crewing and said, I just want to be the best crew chief ever. But eventually the flying bug got to him, and he wanted to become and did become a very fine balloon pilot.
Well, I got involved with balloons because of my work in media. I was working at a local radio
Yeah.
station. It was coming up on Balloon Fiesta. I interviewed the Balloon Fiesta people and got to know them, came out, started volunteering for the media committee, getting to know more pilots, met a local pilot, went out, started crewing. So you see, I had a little bit different, but then once I got to the crew path, it was kind of like, oh yeah, this is great fun.
I've always said you and I are brothers from another mother because
Yeah.
my experience is very similar. I was working at WOAI radio. Well, my original flight, I was working in my hometown TV station, KFDM TV Channel 6 in Beaumont, and for the bicentennial, Bill Murtaugh and a bunch of balloonists in Houston put together a balloon rally. And I saw they were doing that watching the NBC News one evening, and so I got a photographer friend of mine that worked on staff. We got a news unit and drove to Houston the next morning, and I met Bill Murtaugh there and used my media credentials to say, can I get a ride? Well, it was very windy that day, and he said, we're not flying passengers today, but if you'll come back sometime, I'll give you a flight. Well, I did. I went back a couple of months later, got my first balloon ride there. A few years later, I was working at WOAI in San Antonio, Texas, and there were a couple of balloons doing an across Texas race, they called it, for Jerry's kids, for the Labor Day telethon of Jerry Lewis, and the balloon was coming to San Antonio, and I got in touch, and I ended up flying with them one morning over the city of San Antonio, and I was doing traffic reports, if you could believe that, from the balloon. And a few years later, about 3 years later on, I moved to the Dallas-Fort Worth area up to Plano, Texas, and met and flew with the same pilot. But it was like 2 or 3 years later, we were at a dinner one evening with some other close mutual friends, and I said, I did this flight in San Antonio years ago, and we did this and did that and so on, and the two people that I had flown with were sitting at the table. They were very good friends of ours having dinner, but we had never connected each other with that flight.
Oh, wow.
Because there had been a few years in between, and they said, well, you know who made that flight? And it was like, I was the pilot. And I went, what? So, yeah, I used my media credentials, got me my first few balloon rides, and then once I got into Plano and got involved with the Plano Balloon Association and the balloon festival there, and that's how I went on to eventually start crewing, and then went to work at Balloon Life magazine and got my pilot's license.
There's a great picture of the Xfinity
Yes,
Rewards
indeed.
balloon. And if you look to the right, you look at the steam,
And
look,
see how
it's
it's going
going
straight up.
up.
Yeah, and that's a good sign.
Yes,
Because that
balloonists
means
look
there's
for
no-
things
that's
like
right.
that and flags to check and see what the wind might be
Even
doing.
while you're flying, you'll be
Yep,
looking for
always looking
evidence
for
like
those.
that, because if that smoke were reaching the top of those power lines there and then suddenly leaned over and blowing one direction or the other, that would mean there was a very low-level fast wind. We don't see that. The smoke going straight up, the steam, and so that's a very good sign that the winds are very, very calm this morning.
Well, and Dawn Patrol, which launched about 50 minutes ago,
They've gone nowhere.
have gotten all the way to the northwest corner of the field.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, what is that? Maybe 300 yards
Maybe.
or something?
Yeah, they took a
Yeah.
circuitous route to get there, but basically they haven't covered much, ground distance at all.
They're just hanging out there. Sunrise not till a little bit after 7 o'clock officially, but we're starting to get that early dawn light. And of course, our cameras do a great job of picking up any piece of light that's there, so the screen looks a little bit lighter than it is here on the field. But we are still all on schedule, just watching the clock tick down to our national anthem. Balloon of the day at 7 o'clock. And then we start to see some of the light plate out there as well. The idea is to blow cold air into the balloon. Once you have the balloon cold packed, as full of cold air as you can get, then you heat the air, and that's what makes the balloon stand up. More heat then makes the balloon stand off the ground. Of course, all depending on the amount of weight that you have put in the basket and have to make it to the ground.
A little different from some of those big gas balloons we saw, where they just get a small bubble of gas in the top of the balloon and then release it, and it just pops up. And then they continue to fill it. So the cold, the hotter the balloon, you basically stay in a cold pack that envelope, get as full of air as possible, and then, only then, you can heat the balloon, the air, and stand itself up.
Need the space to get that flame in.
Exactly. Yeah, you want the balloon to be big and the envelope is big and fat, because that opens up that hole at the bottom of the throat of the balloon, which is where you shoot the flame in. And the larger that opening is, the chances is less of the chance of you're going to accidentally go in and pour something and shrink up.
Well, because remember too that as you start to burn, that hot air rushes to the top of the balloon, and the throat
Which
is
is
sucked in the bottom because the cold air can't. The cold air
Yes.
can't come in quite as fast.
When you do a sloppy inflation, often you see that happen, because you see the pilot, you've got that bubble of hot air at the top, and the bottom of the balloon is very loosey-goosey, and it tends to breathe in and pilot try to time his burn. So you shoot a little heat in every time the throat breathes out or exhales, trying to put a puff of heat in and then get off the burner while it sucks back in so you don't burn or scorch something. Wanted to give a quick shout out. Mike tomorrow says, Glenn and Art, your stories are wonderful. Mike, your check is in the mail, my friend.
A similar comment over here from John Greer, who enjoyed ours. He says he received his paper student certificate. Paper is student certificate been gone for a number of years now. Yeah. But he got it from Ray there. Right here.
Oh, yeah. Well, Ray was basically an examiner.
He's retired from that role.
Yep.
He still flies.
Ray is 83. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I think
wow. We worked together on the DFA board of directors. I worked for Ray. He was the president. But gosh, I can't imagine it.
And he bought a new home, literally on the south.
No, he had one of the homes right back here on the entryway. Yeah, I've always thought maybe we could just stop in and party with him.
Or maybe we could just move the show to his roof.
To his rooftop.
All the houses
have those open roofs.
They do.
Noticed that.
Yeah,
and they have the stairways that go up from outside.
Yep.
Flat roof, so you can sit out and watch.
I think the neighborhood is called Ascension.
Oh, how clever.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. I know one night, last night I talked about the cowboy game. We won't talk about that this morning. But I remember driving out one evening after one of our evening events. Must have been on either a Sunday night. And Sunday night football was on. And somebody was in one of their homes and they had this huge big screen TV with these, great big picture windows. And I could see the TV. I almost pull over.
So we're got our mobile camera down with the Exxon mobile planes balloon through. And a minute ago we saw the burner check. We were just talking about how to aim the burner, and he was actually doing a little gimbling of the burner there. You can actually see how it's going way up in. Not as far over as it can go. Yeah, but especially right.
There it goes. He just pushed it down, right? Almost level.
Into that opening, depending on how that.
So old balloons did not have that gimbal. I can remember. I never owned one, but I can remember a time when the burner was rather fixed in position. Talked about the team helping to pick the basket up yesterday. You literally had to do that. You had to move the basket to aim the burner. So when burner gimbals came along, which is a term that comes out of the space agency, Saturn V rockets, they can all move and turn, and so the term is gimbal.
Look at that shot with just the pilot right there. He got his hand up. Yeah, that's what will allow him to gimbal that.
He can then with a hand reach up there and turn that burner different directions, slide it back and forth, and gimbal it so that you can aim it. That's been a huge step forward in burner technology.
That is Sean Asprey.
That is Sean. I thought that was like Sean.
In the Xfinity balloon down there by the main stage.
Oh, I see the X on the hat. Yeah, Xfinity. Yeah, there's a good headshot of Sean. Sean is a longtime veteran pilot. Back in the day when there was such a thing as cigarette advertising, and Sean flew the Winston balloon for a number of years.
And we talked about blue flame versus yellow flame when the blue glows. We saw that one improve. You get a little bit of yellow just as it's burning down at the end, but yeah, basically
that's the main blast valve where you're burning the propane as a oil, which you saw at the top of the burner. Propane gets up through that with that pilot light, and so it's preheated and it vaporizes the propane, and then when you burn, you get that pencil blue flame. That main blast valve, if it's going to blow, you burn the propane as just a raw gas, and that produces that big, bright, ragged yellow flame that produces all the balloon blows. Breakfast burritos are a big thing here at Balloon Fiesta, and there you can see in the side of that shot online one of the breakfast burrito booths. Long lead seabed, the one we've been talking about that has the turtle and the dolphin on the top. That shot with the Xfinity balloon. Number of balloons around the field. Crowds are always a little smaller on the weekdays because a lot of people obviously have to work for a living, and
But you know, today is a U.S. holiday.
today is a holiday, that's true, but you know, there are people who come in just for the opening weekend, and then they'll be using today as a travel day to get back home on the holiday so that they can then go back to work tomorrow. And of course, traffic is always a little bit less.
You were supposed to wait for the national anthem, sir.
This morning, instead of being 3 a.m., was 4 a.m., which was very refreshing.
And someone's asking about the flag. Yes, it is a green flag. Their green flag is up.
Yeah.
If it's not up yet on the pole, they're moving there to get it up, but we are definitely in a green flag condition. And look at what's happened with Dawn Patrol out there. They've now drifted back to the east, so they are right over the north end of the field.
Chick-fil-A has moved just about to the center line of the field, moving from west to east.
He could be right there for the balloon of the day.
Just about, yeah. Let's see. I was just
This is
flashing through a few more of the comments.
This is one of our ride balloons getting inflated there. You actually see, first off, you see how big the basket is, but then there's even a heat shield over on the right-hand side there.
It's over the passengers that protect everyone from Lorraine, France. Lorraine, of course, site of their own very fine balloon event. They hold it every other year, and it was held this year, so there won't be one in 2024. It'll be in 2025.
Got some folks on the YouTube chat here talking about a wish that school would be out for the special shaped rodeos. The local school system changed its calendar this year, and they don't have both Thursday and Friday off like they usually do.
Oh.
So someone else suggests just watching the rodeo while you're in geography class.
There you go.
Not something we recommend, but if you can work it out with your teacher, that would be great.
Yeah, we do know that, we mentioned this earlier, there is, you were talking about a 6th grade class somewhere that's watching us?
Yeah.
It's part of a school project, and I know that a friend of mine sent a note that he has us tuned in at the activity center of a nursing home facility for the residents to watch, so there are people in different places watching us.
Just kind of listening to our officials radio talk about where the Dawn Patrol is as we get ready to launch the balloon of the day. Let me see if I can get an update here. Stage, are we ready? All right, so let's toss it down to our public address announcer, Mr. Bill Royal, for our national anthem.
There they go.
Sean Askren and Xfinity Balloon taking the colors aloft to the sounds of our national anthem, and that means we are officially underway on day number 3 of the 51st Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. It is Monday, and it is our Thank You to Navigator Day. We'll be honoring them with a party later today for all the hard work that they have done getting us ready and through this entire week. Our game plan for today is to launch about half of the balloons from right here on the field. Many of them are already well into the cold inflation portion of their flight, some of them already standing up. Once these balloons have launched and cleared the field, the other half of our balloons will be launching from somewhere away from the field and performing and participating in a fly-in competition. So they'll be attempting to get back to the field and drop markers on both a boat and an X. So there are actually 2 different tasks or competitions taking place today.
That's correct. The boat is the primary target, the SS Sid Cutter, and that will be an orange marker task, so you can keep up with everything that's going on. There will be further X's that will be closer to me this year. They'll be south of the boat, meaning closer to the rooftop studio, and those will be any color marker except orange.
Or red. Because they look too close to the same.
Or, okay, so no red, no orange. So we'll likely see some blue and some white markers, maybe a pink one, who knows?
Yellow, yep.
Yellow, yeah. But, so yeah,
and
that'll be the...
That's just because sometimes the markers are so far away from they want to make sure that you
score it to the correct X.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. You got it.
Yeah. So that's why they designate which marker you have to throw. And of course, in any competition, typically, if you throw the wrong color marker on a task, generally you'll still be scored, but then you get a penalty for the wrong color marker.
Right.
But the purpose in trying to specify or assign a color to a target is so that the scoring officials can, as you say, be sure to measure to the correct X, and you get the proper score that you should for your drop.
Yeah, because there's always the pilot that says, well, I was really throwing on that one over there.
You're on that one. You're going to get a worse score. Oh, well, never mind.
And a penalty, meaning they'll either add distance, which of course takes down your point total, or they'll just take some points.
Or they'll say, okay, well, we'll score you, but we're going to charge you, assign, another 500 points or 300 points or 100 points, whatever it might be.
Either deduct points or add to the distance, which does the same thing.
He ain't going nowhere, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah. He ain't going nowhere.
Number of our ride balloons in the picture.
Oh,
There's
shit.
the red and green Visit Albuquerque balloon. We're seeing the green side.
Wind up there.
The Indian Pueblo Cultural Center balloon. Pinnacle Propane. One of the other ride balloons, the Sundance balloons. And that's always a great opportunity.
You're going a whole different direction,
Here in Albuquerque,
son.
you can be right down on the field with the balloons, and you see those kids just fitting under the
I just thought it just myself.
Yeah, somebody's going to have to duck.
And fabric, and so you want to be careful that you're not dragging any scarf or anything like that.
Anything like that. But that's one of the unique things about our event here. It's one of the few, really anywhere in the world, where the spectators are allowed to get and their balloons. In many cases, there would be a crowd line, a fence line over along Main Street, and the crowd would be told you can't go beyond this point. We don't do that here, and it makes for a much more exciting experience.
Yeah, so the east side is where all of the vendors and merchandise.
That's where Main Street, all that stuff is.
All the stuff is, and that's pretty much where all the people come in from the parking lots.
Right.
So you get to the field and you go, wow, there's the balloons, and you stand there in that to try and get people farther out and kind of relieve the crowd along Main Street, move them out into the fields. We've put some bleachers over on the west side, so there's actually seating over on the west side.
Well,
you can
I
see.
saw a set of those when I first got here on Thursday, and was going down to your location over in the the trailer park, there was, I saw those bleachers right there almost by the pilot briefing tower.
They're on both sides.
And
There's
I
one
thought,
south
well,
and a couple north.
Well, that's neat. They've put seats there for the pilots, but you're telling me, oh, that's awesome.
So if you're over there on the east side, you might want to head over to the west side where you have the seating.
There you go.
I mean, the competition area is going to get flagged off, so there'll be a kind of a sterile area where you can't go, and you can be right up on those flags.
Buy yourself some popcorn or some nuts or something, and
breakfast burritos and hot chocolate,
and just wander on over to the bleachers and look at that shot. The ride balloons putting a lot of heat in it. A couple of burners going strong there.
See a couple of our zebras.
It's almost reminiscent of last night's glow photographs that we saw.
Great, and I am seeing people all the way over to the west side as well.
Absolutely, yeah. There's quite a crowd around Cool Beans here in the far northwest corner, down on row A in front of us. The Exxon Mobil team, we already mentioned Tristan and his group. They have the balloon standing up nice and tall. The Coca-Cola balloon has already lifted off, and look at him.
Oh,
He's
I missed
gone
him take
up
off.
And now is moving south to north in a very low level box. Very low level. Normally,
Sean Estfinity has gone back out to the north
certainly,
as well.
yes, he has.
So they told the pilots there may not, that coming back north might be difficult, but they are moving really slowly up there. So you don't want to go too far south to try and fly north to drop in and come back. But there will be some pilots to do that.
Yes, there will.
So.
And we'll have to see what the upper level wind is. A lot of times some pilots will launch far away and they'll go very, very high.
And ExxonMobil is now in the air with our balloon camera.
Yeah.
And so this is what it looks like off from the field. Back down on the field. We are now airborne with our balloon cam.
Camera's coming around toward us. Let's see. There's the sponsor on. There's the rooftop.
There's the rooftop studio in our backdrop.
Yeah. Right there on top of the.
Tristan spinning the balloon with the turning event in the ExxonMobil.
There's the RV lot behind us. Look at all those RVs back there by the museum. There's a great shot of the museum, which is behind us, and we're at Gordon Minute TV this week, rather. There's a good shot of the Sandias. The sun, as you can see, is up, but still hidden by the Sandias.
Coca-Cola already heading west back over the field.
So
there's definitely steerage there right now. And maybe what they were talking about is when the sun comes
up, that might change.
This drainage to the south and north will, as he's gotten up into
he's climbing, and he's going to be coming back north here in just a minute, I think.
Yep.
Balloon, yellow with red and blue stripes and blue stars. Cool Beans, also in the northwest, or rather southwest corner of the field. Green, red, blue, and yellow spire, white, and the Cool Bean characters around the bottom of the balloon.
The shot back down on the field.
Yeah.
The whole northwest
see all the Rainbow Riders balloons at the top. Those are people that have paid for a ride up there. All the ones on the lower part of the screen. Those are all our fun flyers.
The field's a lot emptier on the weekends because, again, the pilots are split kind of into two groups. Half that are flying off the field, Fiesta flyers. The other half have gone out, find a launch site, and fly in for the competition. Wicked is with us again this morning, defying gravity. They are right here in front of us. The balloon representative of the hit Broadway show, Wicked.
The red balloon we're seeing on the screen, Coca-Cola.
Yep. Wicked, of course, the Wizard of Oz story about the good and the wicked witch.
There it is. That is such a great show.
That is a great show. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. Yeah.
Right next to Wicked is the Chalmers sponsored balloon. Chalmers here in the Albuquerque area.
Indeed.
And they lend us some chase vehicles officials. Again, we've talked about people coming in from out of town. You fly in, and so we borrow some vehicles and use those to get our folks around.
When I lived in California and would fly in as the announcer, I was drive for the week, and on one of my trips here, at the end of the week, I actually went back and bought a brand new vehicle from Don Chalmers and drove it home.
I did notice that all the ones we have temporary dealer stickers on, so you know that's what's going to happen again.
That's right, and they generally are put on sale immediately after Balloon Fiesta because they're now considered used vehicles, very lightly used, so you can get a nice discounted price on some really fine vehicles. I had a great, I was driving an Expedition, and that's what I ended up buying the year that I bought my vehicle from Don Chalmers.
University of New Mexico balloon, Travis Venzel.
If you're on the field, it's right high overhead in the center.
Right out of the center. Travis Venzel flying that for us. Balloon of the day yesterday. And Wicked goes right over the rooftop studio.
Yep, being very wicked, as it were.
Yep. You know, have you noticed we're seeming like we're getting more and more pilots that are attempting to fly right over us?
Yeah, that's called buzzing the tower.
Stan Hess flying Wicked for us.
Negative Ghost Rider.
I'm just not catching any northwest wind at all.
Another shot from our balloon cam up in the Exxon balloon. Looking back down, balloon on the side. Quavo that took off from here.
Yep, you see him just down in the bottom of that picture. So all the balloon field is actually on the bottom.
Yeah, I'll start over and get the fly again real quick. I don't know. Way off.
Giving you lots of great angles from
up
in the bottom. There's the New Mexico True balloon. You see the Mexico True on the words on the side when that's
Bill Truly flying that balloon.
Bill Lee.
Bill Truly.
Yeah. That's it.
I got it.
Basically, in New Mexico. With that balloon and the sugar skull on it available at our merchandise.
Oh, awesome.
So we've worked with New Mexico True and of course Bill Lee and all those materials.
Yeah, I thought this morning something was different. I just realized it's because we don't do the drone show on the weekdays.
Right.
We started and I was thinking weekdays. So things a little different. There is Arabelle, the Creamland Dairy Special Shape cow.
And look at the difference in the New Mexico, right behind.
That's crazy. You started before me, and I was way up
there.
there.
The New Mexico State University.
That's insane how
Las
this shit
Cruces,
turns out.
That's more of a regular size, probably a 90,000 cubic foot.
Yeah.
And then the ride balloon.
I'm just getting further away from where I'm trying to go.
Yeah,
Shot down on the field. Yeah, from straight up above. You see the balloons in different levels of inflation. There are balloons standing up.
You talk about that three-row thing you talked about.
Three-row rule.
The front row's ready to go. The row behind is just about ready to go. The third and fourth rows back are now just going
like I'm trying to overburn and get high as I can and try to find a
exactly. They're waiting, not starting the inflation yet.
That's the game.
So they don't waste any time.
Hey, our Balloon Meister Henry Rosenbaum has come up to chat with us here this morning. So good morning, Henry.
Good morning, Art. Glenn, good morning. What a fantastic day this is.
Oh, now we've got a whole northeast
and the sun's not even up yet.
It's been that way for 3 days.
I know.
That's unbelievable. We've had 5 So bring us up to speed on what's happening. Yes, so we're talking about it on the competition today. They've got 2 tasks. The Sid Cutter, which is always our favorite. Sid Cutter task will be first, and then they've got 2 X's just downwind of that for as a hesitation walks. So I just talked to Joe Savata, one of the competitors. They're planning to head out to Corrales to the northwest of here and fly the high wind in. So, but you know, that may change. We'll see.
Yeah, because we heard Brad talk about the weather today, about everything was going to be from the north, but we're watching the balloons go up and start going back to the north.
Yes, it's just so light right now. I think most of them are going to bank on that upper level winds that's consistent and get into the area and then come down and play with the lower level winds.
On the screen for our online viewers, we have up a map
I'm starting to get a northeast wind
of the target this morning that you provided us, where there is the boat in the center. You see the large land mass, that rectangular represents the shoreline, and then the two little L-shaped sort of areas are islands. Everything else is water.
No,
and
I've
we
got a whole
understand that
little piece
if
of it.
you
I got a whole
score
roll with.
in the water, you will be scored this year, but you get a distance penalty. Is that
Yeah,
right?
so we're giving them a life
Technically, I'm
preserver.
just floating right
Okay.
now.
So if they score in the water, the life preserver is going to help them. They just can't get any better than a 300-foot score.
Okay.
So whatever their measurement is, we'll add 300 feet.
Okay.
And what that does, that allows many scores to be on the scoreboard versus if you're outside the scoring area.
In a cumulative event like this is to get a score on every
I'm not making
flight.
the
You don't
field
have to be
today.
the best, you don't have to win, but you want to score.
Yes.
So if you get a no score, you're really at a disadvantage. And on the first day, that's just not fun.
It really is, yeah. You don't have to be first on the first day, you just got to be first on the last day. And I meant to tell the pilots this morning, you
That's
know,
life.
this is the best day of competition this morning to start because everybody's in first place.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right.
Everybody's in first place. So now, but after today, we'll see because we've got, you know, an hour or so. 8 o'clock time frame is when we plan to start, but an hour and a half of competition. And it's going to be a fantastic show because if the winds stay like this on the surface, we're going to see the pilots making it to the area. And that's where they're going to have to navigate to be in that spot to get to the boat.
We
and
talked
then
about
get to
there
the other
might be a lot
axis.
of what I call bobbing going on because
Yes.
you just maybe just
Man, I
25
might-
to 50 feet
Because
difference
technically
in your
there's no rules
altitude
against
could
it. I'm
get
probably
you
going
just
to
enough
land,
push to get
pack
one
up,
way or the
move
other.
over, and
And
try one
because
more
it's so
time
slow,
before
we
the
may
time
see a lot of
limit runs
balloons
out.
literally hanging around the target together. If you're late getting in, I can remember one year flying here, I was up
This is
high
nothing-
and a balloon was below me
I
as we
got
went
lied
into the
to.
scoring area, and I went right through the scoring area and I couldn't see anything but the top of the balloon below me.
Yeah, there's been many times when the baggie from the balloon aloft has ended up on the hop of the baggie below.
Yeah.
And that's a bad feeling when you're up looking at your baggies just floating away on somebody else's balloon.
Yeah.
Getting
going
farther
away.
and farther
Going
away
further,
because you
further.
had the perfect throw.
You had the perfect throw,
And
yeah.
they flew it away.
So you yell at them, you try to communicate to maybe get the
Let
baggie
it
to come
fall
through their
through.
balloon.
Yeah.
So it's all kinds of stuff throughout the year. But anyway, it's going to be a great day, great competition. The folks that are flying from the field had the great flight to leave here. So don't leave the channel. Stay tuned on. And it's got an hour and a half of great competition.
That flight I was talking about, I was up high in the
Pump that shit
balloon,
up,
and
man.
as he finally, I knew he'd made a great score because I heard the huge roar from the crowd, and I'm going, get out of the way, get out of the way.
Yes.
And finally, as we cleared each other, I threw my baggie and I watched it soar right down, and then the last moment, it flew right underneath the flagging and landed outside the scoring zone. I was just devastated. But those are the kinds of things that happen sometimes.
Well, we appreciate what y'all do. I know you'll take a camera crew, go
I'll
to
be
the
down there with you.
right
Yep,
to the
Art will be
target
down
area, and it's nice to let everybody see what's going on real time and up close.
And thanks for having the targets, the other two X's south,
Yes.
closer to me so that I can see that part of the competition
right,
from
yep.
here on the field. Now, will the south end be open for landing beyond the targets?
Yes, so that's the other thing. Just after the score, they can land on the field south of the target, and I anticipate many balloons doing just
Right,
that.
and we just ask that they take down as quickly as possible
Yes.
to clear the space for other incoming pilots.
Yep. All right, well, we'll stay tuned. I'm going to get back to our tower over
Back
here.
to work. We'll
We're,
get back to work. Thanks
we're
for stopping
excited.
by. I think
gonna
it's
be a
going to be
great
a
morning.
fabulous day.
It is great. Thank you.
I'll take care. Thanks, Henry. It's good to see you as always.
Henry Rosenbaum, our balloon meister, calling the tasks and the flights for our competition and all of our flights all week. Assisted by a great team of an assistant
Yeah,
balloon
we're gonna
meister,
try
of course,
again.
a weather team, safety officials, scoring officials, launch directors that are getting balloons up and will actually serve as getting balloons down when they start landing on the south end of the field as well. Arabelle is standing up. Dale Ritchie, has the Creamland cow balloon standing up.
Got a comment quickly on Facebook here. Tammy Byrne says, I heard there are special gondolas at Fiesta this year for those in wheelchairs. There are, in
yes.
fact, we didn't mention that, but Rainbow Riders has added a wheelchair-capable balloon or balloons. I'm not sure if it's one or more.
I think it's a single. I think it's a single like Heparin in a balloon called Cattywampus or Cattywampus.
Cattywampus? Or
Yeah,
something?
Cattywampus.
Okay.
So, and it's Mike's balloon, and he's teamed up with Rainbow Riders, and so it has a door so that the wheelchair can come in,
And then it can be
it's strapped
sort of
down.
strapped in place.
And the sides, part of the sides of the basket are actually plexiglass, so that even sitting, because you'd be sitting at the basket level, you
Rail
wouldn't be
height,
able to
you couldn't see much. Yeah.
So the plexiglass allows you to see out the glass, and then there's room for a companion to go along with
exactly.
you as well.
Well, and I noticed not long ago we did an article, Ultra Magic Balloons just celebrated their 40th anniversary, and they debuted a new basket over in Spain at their facility that it's the square rectangular shape angled so that it's higher at the back and lower in the front, and that's again a handicapped accessible basket so that those sitting in wheelchairs, that side rail is not in their eyeballs, they are actually sitting above it and can see over.
Really convenient. We're talking about it because there it is, and if we can get our camera, it's right next to the 95.9 star balloon. It's kind of red on the top, orange at the bottom. It's got a white design over on the side. It's just coming out of the center of the field. It's Cottywomple. I've looked it up here, and that's Mike Heffron. Usually goes by Heff. And so that is the balloon that has the wheelchair-capable basket on it, and is probably flying.
Very cool.
Those folks today.
Yeah, but I don't know if
there we have
Ultramagic-
it.
There
we
he
have
is.
it on the side of the screen.
Yeah,
there, right?
kind of a starburst with a heart in the center, a design on the side there.
Yeah, little heart with things coming off the side. So yeah.
But I don't know if Ultramagic has that particular basket here, but I was quite intrigued by it because
that's
the top
interesting.
is like at about a 30-degree angle, so that the passengers can sit and in a wheelchair and can see over and have a great view of everything, while it's still high-sided on the back for protection.
Great. All kinds of people always having, if we could do this, that would make the sport more accessible to more people.
Yeah, and I think it's Lindstrand that has a balloon. Johnny Petrin has flown out here before that has the plexiglass floor, so that while you're flying, you can look straight down between your feet. And see
not sure I want to do that.
It's like a glass-bottom boat, but it's a glass-bottom balloon. So, yeah, there's all sorts of creative technology out there and available, and a lot of it we do have here in various forms on the field. Speaking of creative, there is the preventive pest control balloon, the Itsy Bitsy Spider. I know some folks that would probably set fire to that balloon trying to kill the spider. You see a spider in your house and you burn the house down.
Tristan has taken the ExxonMobil balloon a little higher, and so now we see not only the balloon but the entire field from up above.
Yeah.
And you can see how big the field is and how many balloons are actually here. And remember, this is only half of them, because the other half are on a truck
somewhere going out to
find a
Corrales to find a launch site, according to Henry and Joe Zavada.
Let's try this again.
There's the red side of the Visit Albuquerque balloon in the sky.
If you look way high right there, there's that white and red balloon that is just in the sunlight. So you
Pinnacle
can see,
Propane.
Is that Pinnacle's balloon?
Yep.
Okay. You can see where the sunlight level is coming from the other side of the Sandias. The sun is not over the mountain yet, but if you get to a certain altitude, you are in the sunlight. And you can see it's almost like the balloon turns on a light bulb inside it as it begins to glow as the sun makes those colors pop.
I'm looking up even higher. And so there is this layer on the ground that's actually starting to turn a little bit southwest. Then you go up and you go north. You go a little higher, you go northwest. And look very high, you come back to the southeast.
Rainbow Rider balloon, yeah.
You're coming back to the southeast. Well, Wicked is way off to the east side, as well as, that's where Tristan is now, over
That's
the
Tristan
ExxonMobil.
over there, yeah. So quite a bit of steerage early on this morning. We'll see if that stays in place for the competition. As we heard Henry say, a lot of the balloons, the pilots are counting on high-level winds going out to Corrales and flying in from the northwest.
High level.
Coming in from high, dropping down dramatically probably to get into the field and score. So it could be exciting to watch.
And of course, the other part of that is all of the layers that we just described will start coming down to the ground. The one on the ground goes away, and the next one they just keep coming down to the ground. So throughout the morning, and especially once the sun gets down here on the field, we're going to see things start changing.
That's right.
And so now not only the skill of navigating it and picking that launch site, but being lucky with the changing of the wind directions as to getting here as well.
We've talked a lot about how the strategy in the Gordon Bennett balloon race of the right winds to take where they want to go.
Yes,
we're going to see a lot of that on a much smaller scale here this morning, because as you're right, even if you pick the right launch site, the right level to arrive, getting to the target can also be quite a bit of a challenge as you come down to lower altitudes. And we hear it in ballooning all the time. I was right there, and then the left went away.
And how many times have you heard that when a pilot wins the competition, it was how much it was 10% luck and 90% pilot error?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah. And then, of course, there's always the thing, I'd rather be lucky than good. You know, if you're lucky, you're in the right spot at the right time. If you're good, then it's always happen.
Yeah, I saw this come through our chat yesterday, but I saw it too late to make it happen. So we want to say a quick hi to Gwen Wyatt, who's watching over in the UK. She watched her first Balloon Fiesta live earlier this week, and she is now hooked and will be a viewer for life. So thanks, Bob. Thanks, Bob, for passing that along. And Gwen, welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, Gwen. Good to have you. And there's some great ballooning events over in the UK. Out there, Bristol, of course, the Bristol Balloon Fiesta. Then down in Warminster, Sky Safari at Longleat. I was just talking a week or so ago with Robin Batchelor. They just wrapped up the Queen's Cup competition. Had a very successful 2-day. That is a 2-day distance competition for hot air balloons. I don't have the results right in front of me. I did see that the team that had won. Congratulations to everyone over in the UK for a successful Queen's Cup competition. The Queen's Cup is this giant, beautiful silver cup that was created by the Queen some years ago, and she gifted it to the aviation industry. So it rotates year to year to year. Different aviation disciplines are allowed to compete for and win the Queen's Cup.
Oh, here's another way. We talked about this yesterday. One of the cloud hoppers or chair balloons. Just kind of sitting in a little set of straps. He's even waving at us.
Yep, no basket, just a chair that you strap on your back. The propane tank is there. I can remember a friend of mine from Bob Hopper one year, and being a Texan, he rode a horizontal 20-gallon fuel tank with a saddle on it, like riding a horse.
That would be interesting.
No place but Texas, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
Rocky Top is getting airborne now, banner 415, just high over from us.
That's Mark Yoakum. It's actually Mark's first year to fly here. He's got all kinds of ratings and licenses for other kinds of aircraft.
Yeah?
Yep. Preventive Pest Control is in the air. Seth Hunter flying that.
We talked about Itsy Bitsy Spider there, climbing up the side of the balloon. Doug Gannon Hamlet is on the field. Will be launching shortly. So the Facebook chat room just shouted out, Hamlet! And so they'll be going KKOB Radio, where it all began, ladies and gentlemen, 51 years ago.
Look at this shot with all the balloons on the field, all the balloons in the sky.
Yeah, this is not meant to be.
Great pictures from our ExxonMobil balloon.
Dang it.
Tristan for flying our balloon camp today.
Absolutely, but yeah.
It is not meant to be, bro.
KKOB run KKOB, then KOB, celebrating their 50th anniversary when Sid Cutter and Tom Rutherford got together and put together
this is not meant to be. This whole thing went cockeyed on us.
Yeah, just kind of a balloon decorations over for our party.
It's not meant to be, brother.
Yeah. I remember, I love the story. I had an opportunity to talk with Sid years ago, and they talked about, it just only got mentioned on the radio. It was their birthday party.
The radio promotion.
Actually brought half they rode up they just threw the passes in the back seat and said, forget that. I think there was one police officer on horseback, for the crowd, so there was nothing. Yeah.
Well, and there was, I remember the video. Slim Pickens was there. There were some celebrities there that were. I remember him saying, "Golly, I ain't never seen nothing like this before." It was fun, and there were 13 pilots at that first event. 21 were invited because of weather. A little bit later this morning, before we set for competition. Her husband, the late Mr. Whitaker, of course, was one of the 13.
One of those 13 that actually made it.
That's right. Bobby and her daughters are here, and they're going to come up, and I'll have a chat with them a little bit later today. And we'll be talking a little bit about that first balloon fiesta when Matt was one of the year ago, as I recall now, sadly. And miss him. He was a great friend. Bobby has been a dear friend for years. as has been Donna. I don't know Denise as well as I know Donna.
Point out that Ron Curry is flying the KOB balloon, KKOB. Of course, on our screen here, up in the upper left, there's Tamo with
that
Tammy
is
Schrum.
Tammy Schrum in her pink camouflage balloon.
And there's the back end
The winds
of
keep getting
Hamlet's
farther and
flying
farther.
Hamlet,
Oh,
yeah.
that's crazy.
and farther over on the right, that new little special shape, Just Fun Cat.
There's Arabelle, the
And
Cleveland
Truly.
Dairy Cow, and New Mexico Sugar Skull on the side there.
I remember when they brought that balloon out for the first time, and we all kind of went, wow.
I bet.
Yeah. And I mentioned the shirt and the tile. Those, once we put those out,
Talking about it earlier. There's Bandit, Diane Carlson's balloon. Bandit always reminds me of my cat Ranger. I can check in on him with my pet cameras every morning. In fact, I got into the field early this morning and was sitting in the car scrolling through the various pet camera videos, watching Ranger roaming around the house, and Bonnie too, my other kitty cat. Just making sure they're okay.
Yeah, and equal mentions there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I can't play favorites, amongst them.
Yep.
Look at the box now. Look at this. Look right now. You can see the lower level balloons coming, KOB coming straight to us. The balloons just above them are moving from the northwest to the southeast. And then right above, look at the Tiger. He's going southeast to northwest.
Yeah,
and only about a balloon's different height between them. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And you keep going, it's a multi-layer box. Normally it's
and you go higher. Look at Rainbow Riders. He's coming back.
Yeah.
So they're going this way, that way, back, and then coming back again.
That's what I said. It's a multi-layer box. That way you go up and you go that
the other way.
And maybe there's a little bit in the middle, but this is definitely a multi-layer.
This is like there's 4 layers. Wow, I don't know that I've ever seen that in 34 years up here. This is amazing.
I've seen the days when it's kind of the kaleidoscope where it kind of like rotated around.
Exactly.
But
not
I've
never seen this many distinct layers so close together. Literally just a balloon's height difference in the layers. And the sun shining now.
And it's on the field.
And it's on the field, so the people down on the field will be getting warm. Smokey Bear is launching now. That'll be Beth Wright's barely in the air. We've got the basket about car rooftop level. Doug Gant.
Yep.
Baby T-Rex over on the far left as we look at the field to the west. We'll be launching here shortly.
And there is Smokey, you just mentioned.
Yep.
So as the balloons leave the field, we're going to start clearing the center of the field to start putting up the flagging for our competition. And we do want to get the competition started at 8 o'clock this morning, which is just 25 minutes from now.
I'm not trying to jinx
so we're going to, as the balloons take off, then you need to start moving to the east, to the west, to the north, and the south of the field. Start flagging at the center of the field and start moving to those edges. So as the space gets cleared of the balloon, we need to clear it of spectators as well.
Now the southwest.
So we get all of these balloons off. Again, this is just half. The other half are out there. Probably at this point have already selected their launch site. Although if they're doing like we are, okay, I can go here and I can go that way. I can get hit this level and I can go that way. It's in a up and down,
And you can bet all the competition pilots are out there watching this and looking at these different layers.
And second guessing themselves.
And thinking, oh, maybe I need to move. Maybe I'm too far left, too far right. Maybe I should go to the east side and come in that way. To give us a little more insight on this amazing weather that we have here this morning, when he finishes having a chat with our production assistant over here.
Yeah, he's checking out pictures over there.
Hey, guys, we're going to do an interview if you don't mind.
Great.
Hello.
So now I'm on the
just
southwest
over there having
wind.
a nice chat. We've got Brad Tiemeyer with us again, our official weatherman, weather meteorologist, forecaster. I was going to say procrastinator. That's not the right word. What am I searching for? There's another funky word.
I want to just jump right into it. What is going on up there that we've got 5 or 6 different directions at different altitudes up there?
Yeah, there's a lot going on this morning weather-wise. All results are basically light and variable winds for us. In general, I think if they don't fight too hard, I think they're going to go generally south. We've got balloons down there that have found their way down to the south, but it's always easier to go find a landing spot up to the north or west, right?
Yeah.
And so it seems like there's some pilots that are preferring to head that direction. It's kind of a choose-your-own-adventure day, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, we were just pointing out that we can see at least 4 or 5 distinct directions in the first 1,500 feet.
I think you can see that at least in the lowest 500 feet.
Probably,
yeah, I think so.
It's pretty wild, but it's all pretty light, and I expect it to be somewhat variable. You know, what we thought earlier, like 2 a.m., is that there was very little temperature difference between us and Santa Fe, and so we weren't even sure whether we were even going to get a box. And we thought, but then all of a sudden it got much colder up in Santa Fe, and then that allows the cold air to kind of drain down towards us here at the bottom of the bowl. And so that's where you're seeing this really shallow layer coming out of the north, headed down to the south is coming from. But you notice it's really weak.
It is.
And we've had a prevailing wind lightly out of the south. So it's kind of fighting. There's two forces kind of fighting each other, and so that's why you're seeing all this variations to it. And then there's a transition zone from that layer, somewhere between 500 and 1,000 feet, where and above that we're really seeing a northwest to southeast progression. So there's tons and tons of layers, which should make it really interesting for the competition this morning.
Should be not procrastinator, prognosticator was the other word I was searching for, which is a lot like procrastinator. And sometimes you weather guys do procrastinate as you're forecasting. You know, we felt that, you talk about the temperature change, Art actually felt it and called it out here but we felt it very noticeably here on the stage, where the wind originally was from our back from the south, and then all of a sudden we got this
we might have a chance after all, brother.
As we got that little bit of drainage wind.
Yeah, and then you had to turn on the heaters, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So that's and it was funny because when we were driving out here in the golf carts, and it's a great way to right? It's speeding across the golf cart or across the field in the golf cart, trying to figure out what's going to happen here in 5-6 hours, something like that. But it's funny because you'll drive a little bit of a depression, and all of a sudden you hit this cold.
You
pocket.
feel that cold.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's always a good sign that we might develop the box, just because we've had that radiative condition, so that's allowed the atmosphere to cool, and so the cold air kind of settles into those deeper depressions, or even small depressions. You get these radical temperature changes, which ultimately have a response in our wind.
Yes.
And that's what kind of drives all this, and the result is this morning variable conditions all over the place. But with as variable as it is, there's going to be some consistency to it, and I think the competitors are going to be looking for that consistency.
How much does the sun stabilize? We've got essentially a big mixing bowl above us now, but now that the sun is up and beginning to heat, especially getting to the ground here at Fiesta and beginning to heat, we'll have a little heat rising. What's the effect of the sun in terms of stabilizing this and putting in place a fairly standard wind direction you can count on? So
the sun is interesting because that just adds another variable into the equation. So the first hour or so, the sun's coming up over the mountain, and it's heating effectively, just because it's not, the sun angle is relatively low, and it's more of a glancing glow as opposed to a direct heat. But as that sun gets higher and higher in the sky, we're going to get more and more direct heat, which is going to mix the heat down more, and that's when we typically, by those late morning hours, the sun is heating effectively enough to the point where it's overdoing the drainage that was coming down from the topography around the area. Anyway.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so that's completely overdone, and then you get the large scale type flow to develop later on in the day. So that's how we can see different winds throughout the day based on what's going on.
Later in the morning is when we'll tend to see one or two particular wind patterns kind of dominate at that point and become something you can count on if you're a pilot trying to steer.
Yep, that's correct. So here in Albuquerque, generally we'll see a wind develop out of the south throughout the day, but in the morning hours we get that drainage up from Santa Fe, and thanks to our neighbors, that's what creates the famous Albuquerque box.
Or mixing bowl as we have today.
Just amazing.
I am just sitting here looking at this, and every balloon is going to be going in a different direction. So it is gonna make for a very interesting competition today, as everybody's gonna have a different strategy, and it's gonna depend a lot on timing and luck as to who gets to the boat.
So, yeah, exactly. And so I have a challenge for you guys. How would you summarize today's weather? Because that's always my challenge, right? When I get up on the tower up there. So now you've had the advantage of seeing what it is today. How would you summarize it in 30 seconds or less?
Light and variable, good luck.
Yeah, my mixing bowl is, even a little bit of kaleidoscope of view here for things with just watching everything kind of move around and all the different colors and shapes.
You know, if I were trying to get to a target from here, I don't know what I'd do this morning.
I'd get a golf cart.
It's easier on the ground. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. I think you developed a new term there that I'll art mixing bowl.
The Albuquerque box is the art mixing bowl. I'll be famous. Thanks, Brad, for coming up and talking to us about this. We're looking forward to seeing how these pilots navigate, steer, aviate the competition today. Close enough to throw their marker on the boat, and also in the hesitation walls. I always wondered about that. I understand where it's coming from, because there's two places that you can throw, and you kind of hesitate if I'm going to go to this one or that one, and it's kind of like a dance, so we call it a waltz. But it's two X's. Pick one and throw one.
It's no different really than a multiple judge declared goal. You know, unless you get into that to me is a hesitation waltz, where then you really have to time you've got to arrive at the target at the right time, because you could be right over it, and if the target's closed, well, you're still out of luck. But it's basically a multiple judge declared goal where there's two targets, you pick one, you throw at it.
Well, this is the day with all this light and variable competition. This is a day where we could see a whole lot of pilots very close to the target and not get here in time to be able to get that score.
Yeah, we've seen that happen where winds are variable, and a pilot will decide where to launch from, and so they'll go one spot and go, oh, I don't think this is right, and then they'll move. And if they move 2 or 3 times, by the time they finally get into the air, then they're pushing the time envelope to get to the target in time, and if the winds are right.
I call that chasing the launch site.
Yeah.
And I've seen pilots do that, not even necessarily for competition, but it's a little windy to launch here for a fun flight, so you go to another launch site. Oh, well, this isn't any better, and then you go somewhere else, and
let's go back to where we started,
eventually you've wasted the entire flying time, and you end up at breakfast.
Yeah, exactly.
Look right above us here. We've got the frog. We've got a regular balloon being squeezed between the frog and the little puppy dog.
And the puppy dog, yeah.
Just drifting along.
By the way, my friends Mike and Georgie over in the UK said that their puppy dog Tilly appreciated all of our talk about dogs yesterday. So I said, we're just trying to keep the customer satisfied.
There you go. Most of our balloons from the ground are now up from out of the competition area. So we're going to need to clear the center of the field there. And we need you to move to the east, the west, the south, or the north. There'll be a lot of flagging there. All the angles are going to be good ones today because the balloons are going to be coming in from any direction.
I'd
pick a
suggest
side.
Not coming so much to the south, because the balloons are going to be throwing on those final targets and then landing here. So your better view would be obviously from the east or west.
Well, you'll be able to see them come across
the field in front of you.
If you're looking for the pictures, then the east side, because the sun's going to be at your back.
Because the sun's going to be at your back. Yeah.
Less people on the west side. Pick a side.
Bleachers on the west side to sit down on if you'd like to do that and kind of cheer on your favorite pilot. Better photographs from the east because you'll have the sun at your back. If you're on the west shooting pictures, you're going to be getting a lot of silhouettes because you'll be shooting into the sunlight. So keep that in mind.
But those are great pictures too.
They can be.
Yeah, they can be really great pictures.
Artfully crafted, they can be. It looks like Arabelle the cow, I think, is deflating. She was not quite standing up, but she just kind of rolled over on a slide. Well, I think I'll snooze another 5 or 10 minutes. I can relate to that.
I think she didn't get all the way up, but a lot of times they'll put that balloon up, stand it up, let everybody get the pictures, etc.
Right.
And then they'll go fly the little one.
Yes.
So again, we're looking to clear the center of the field. If there's not a balloon right where you're standing, start moving out to the edges of the field.
We'll have somewhere out there there'll be a vehicle with the flagging on it, and they'll be driving along and
It's actually
flagging
coming
off
right down. They're putting the poles up over here in the southwest corner already.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so we're starting to put the flagging out. You need to move to the outside of the flagging, please. And if you see them starting to put poles up, you need to be outside.
Somebody, again, asking every day is just wondering, Dan Staley is just wondering if Ruth is out and about talking about Ruth Lind, of course, who is usually our intrepid field reporter. Ruth is not with us this year. She's back at home, and we wish her the very best. We miss her a lot. A lot of people have been asking and commenting about her, so Ruth, you're loved, and we wish you were with us this year. Hopefully we'll see you back next year.
Yeah, someone's asking about his air bell being ripped. No, you hold the top and you open the hole up on purpose at the top
to let all the
hot
air escape so you can pack the balloon up. That's how you deflate the balloon.
We understand how it can look that way.
Look at the sloth just right up above us here.
Yeah, and on the screen, the TikTok balloon.
The TikTok balloon, yep. A little
cookie something.
Cuckoo or something like that. It's a grandfather clock caricature, I think.
So Arabelle just going back to sleep.
Actually, I got such a long and hard nap yesterday. I had a hard time going to sleep last night. You know, I was still kind of wide awake because I had finally sort of got caught up on my rest. I was really dragging after Saturday night. Sunday morning was kind of. But feeling good. Hot chocolate is great this morning.
I had it totaled up and I've forgotten the number. We're pushing 20 hours on the air already.
Are we already? Yeah.
And we are really happy to do that. In fact, this is probably going to be a really great time to tell you once again about our brand new giveaway. And we have these license plates, and you know they are really license plates.
They are. These are nice metal plates that will last. They're not something plasticky or cardboard.
Handed them to one of our crew members here this morning, and she knew they were coming, but she hadn't seen one yet. She goes, "Oh, these are real license plates. Good, because I'm going to put it on the front of my car."
Yeah.
So definitely suitable for that if you can do that in your particular state. So this is a pattern that was popular here in New Mexico for a number of years. It's been discontinued here, but we, through the company of the Sign Store, which is a local sign producing store here, Al Padilla and the folks there, have produced a number of these Balloon Fiesta Live license plates for us.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. And we're giving them away to viewers of Balloon Fiesta Live.
That's right. All you have to do is register and get in with a chance to win.
And we're going to throw a QR code up on the screen that you can then scan the QR code. That'll take you directly to the form, put in your contact information, and tell us what you think about Balloon Fiesta Live and the questions that we've asked there. We appreciate reading all of those. And we are going to pull 3 names in every single session.
That's right.
And give away 3 of these license plates every session. And just enter once. We'll keep you in there. If you can't get to the QR code, if you can't find that, you don't have your camera because you're watching the show here, all you have to do is go to balloonfiesta.com, click on the Balloon Fiesta Live page, and there's a link right there. You'll see the license plate. There's a link right there. It takes you to exactly the same place, puts you exactly in the same drawing for a opportunity to win.
You're in with a chance to win, and you only need to register once. Please don't go in and register. You don't have to register every session. Register once, and you're in for all the future drawings. Obviously, the earlier you register, if you register today versus waiting until Thursday, you've got many more chances to win. But just register once, because we're actually eliminating any duplicate entries, so you don't do yourself any favor by entering over and over and over again, trying to stuff the ballot box. We're going to throw those.
So I have spun the magic wheel of random numbers.
Okay.
And our winners for this morning's session are the Rose family from Santa Fe, New Mexico. Vicki Miller from Lick, New York. Unless you didn't spell it all out. But Vicki Miller from New York and David Bryant from Jackson, Mississippi. Those are our 3 winners for Monday morning here in our Balloon Fiesta Live license plate giveaway. Again, thanks to Al Padilla and the folks at the Sign Store.
Indeed.
Sign Store produces all the banners that you see around Balloon Fiesta on the baskets. They did our backdrops, etc. So great supporters.
I think that's the first drawing. one of the 3 winners was not local. It was not from
Actually,
Albuquerque.
I went back and looked at that. The very first one Saturday morning did not have someone from
Okay.
Actually, not even from New Mexico in the first.
Oh, well, then I misspoke.
Yep. But that's okay.
Which is not unusual. I tend to have a habit of doing that sometimes.
Next drawing tomorrow morning, so you got lots of time to get your name.
Yeah, because there's no session tonight. Today
Right.
is the first start of competition, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday we have only morning sessions. So we actually get a couple of nights off. I've got family coming to town tomorrow, and we'll be having dinner with them on Wednesday evening, all things being equal. So
You're going to
looking
ignore
forward
them?
tomorrow afternoon.
Oh,
I've got a a package of passes and things for them, and so they'll be out on the field for the first time Wednesday morning. But they know, that we work long hours and get very little rest, so they were basically just going to kind of leave me alone for Tuesday evening when they get in, and then we'll all you'll probably see them here on the rooftop studio.
Just saw the brand new Pico balloon, exactly like
Yeah,
the other one,
yeah.
except a little bit different color because of different fabric. And they tell us it's a lot less
Built up, well, there's a lot of new lighter weight balloon fabrics than there were
Exactly.
10, 20 years ago, so yeah, I'm sure it is. There is the seabed balloon we've talked about. Doug and Patty see the scene of the ocean floor with all the fishes and creatures and whatnot. Treasure chest maybe, I don't know what all is on the side of the balloon. I haven't seen it up close, but that was all printed, computer printed, digital images. And then there is a 3-dimensional turtle and a dolphin that are on the top of the balloon. There it is on the screen. Yeah, great shot of it. That almost looks like a white dolphin. Maybe it's silver. But we're trying to just having some fun. Doug and Patty mentioned they don't have names yet for the balloon has a name. It's called Seabed, but the dolphin and the turtle don't have names. So if you've got a name for either or both, drop those into your comments on our various chat rooms, and we'll pass those along to Doug and Patty. Maybe they'll find one that they like. So far, I think the leader in the clubhouse is Tortuga and Flip. That was presented very early. I said, of course, it had to be Flipper. I don't know that we can legally do that because of, kind of like when they have the balloon's called Yellowbird, and we all know that it's something else.
the trademark names.
Yeah,
things
the
like
names
that.
are trademarked, so legally they have to be different.
So Tristan has landed the Exxon mobile balloon out there in looks like it might be a parking
Looks
lot.
like a parking lot, a car park.
Yeah, not too far off. And so the landed the balloon, our balloon cam and our balloon camera operator Miranda, who was bringing us those great shots from up in the air. It was Miranda's first flight ever. And of course she had to work it, but she did a great job bringing us those pictures. So the game plan here for Tristan will be to figure out exactly which way they're going to lay the balloon down. They'll turn off all the burners and the propane, pull the top out so that the hot air escapes, lay it down, pack it back in the bag, and you can bet they're going to be back here on the line watching the competition take place today in just a few short minutes.
Somebody wasn't listening because there's a question that says, how do you register for the license plate giveaway? We just told you all that, but go to balloonfiesta.com, look at the Balloon Fiesta Live link. You'll find a link there. Or when we put it up on the screen, scan the QR code that you see. A couple of names coming in for our sea creatures. Flip for the dolphin, Jordy for the tortoise or the turtle. I'm getting confused on my terminology here. I kind of like cool. Flipper, of course, one person says, but again, we don't know legally if we can do Flipper.
That's probably non-copyrighted.
I don't know.
I think you could get away with that.
Well, there was the original TV show, and then there was a remake, and I think there's probably been a movie made. Maybe I don't know. What did I say? I need to do remake to see the whole thing. The tortoise and the flare. Okay.
While you're looking at that, we mentioned a few times this morning about some of the merchandise. We talked earlier about the New Mexico True stuff with the sugar skull and things like that. We have managed to grab the two ladies that run our entire merchandise department and get them up here.
But they came empty-handed. What's wrong with this picture?
Well, that's because things are selling like hotcakes over there. So Lisa Mulder, who is our merchandise manager, and Shawnee Capitone, who is the assistant merchandise manager. Hey, ladies, it's good to see you during Balloon Fiesta.
Good morning, and we're actually upright, so we're pretty excited.
Always a good day when you're upright.
Well, and usually the guys are kind of buried in the tents over there as well. So let's start with what's new with merchandise. What kind of new products do we have?
Probably our most popular
merchandise this year is definitely our solar eclipse merchandise, our pins. We've got some T-shirts. That's definitely our most popular. Everything is selling out real fast.
And so with those pins, we've tried to do some stuff with the pins. They've been so popular. I know that we sold out online before the event at least twice.
We did. We actually sold out twice online.
And what's happening with that down here now? Do we have more pins? Can people still get them?
They can still get them. We did divide them up per session, per tent. So we do have enough for everybody to get some at every session.
Okay.
But they are limited, so it's kind of a first come, first serve thing. But we did decide, because we want everybody to have the opportunity, we are going to turn on a pre-order on Wednesday on BalloonFiestaStuff.com so that everybody can be able to get their solar eclipse pins.
So if you can't get it here, you'll be able to order it, and we'll get more made, and we'll ship it off to you.
Exactly, and that's not just the solar eclipse pin with the moving function where it slides across.
Yeah, where the balloon
eclipse.
creates the eclipse.
Right,
yeah.
it's also the Marvin the Martian, which is actually copyrighted and trademarked Balloon Fiesta this year. So that's a fun, also hard to get pin.
Okay.
And all of the newsletter. And that newsletter, if you're not an insider yet, you can go on BalloonFiestaStuff.com, you can sign up for the newsletter, and you can get all of that information. We put that up, of course, on Wednesday. Every Wednesday there's some great info that comes out.
What seems to be, other than the pin and the Martian and the eclipse stuff, what seems to be the next most popular item there?
Probably our hoodies. Our hoodies are going pretty quick. We have several different ones, but I think there's
It's a lot of fun without the stress of an anniversary year. We had a little bit more time to be more creative.
Great, and the crowds have been good. All the merchandise selling quickly.
Very much so. Already took down a couple mannequins, but that means that those items are gone.
So get over there, shop in the north or south merchandise tents. You can do some shopping online, as you said, at BalloonFiesta.com. So the thing that some people always say, you know what, I'm going to wait till the end of the week and the end of the event because they're going to put stuff on rock bottom price, sales prices types of things. Is that a good strategy?
That is not a good strategy. We generally, because of the nature of it being an event, we keep the prices the same the whole entire time and don't put those on until maybe December if we have some.
We need to get it now. Shauna Capitone, Lisa Mulder, thanks for coming over and giving us the scoop on merchandise. Again, BalloonFiestaStuff.com or the tents here on the field to make sure that you do go online no matter where you are. Wednesday. Thanks, ladies. Good to see you up here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, good morning. And out on the field, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm going to run.
It's time for you to head down onto the field. We are already very actively getting the flagging out and going to be setting up the targets for this morning's Sid Cutter Memorial Task. As you've heard us describe, the SS Sid Cutter will be placed out on the field. They'll be looking for its location. Art is going to take one of our camera teams, and he'll be down right in amongst the boat. We're getting the final few balloons launched off the field. Looks like most of the Sky Safari team has gotten to the airport now. I see Tall Steve, Puddles, and Splash. Andrew Holly up there in Duma, the Cheetah balloon. By the way, good morning, Roma, my little niece over in the UK. Andrew's daughter. There is Wes the Wolf. There is Simbaloo the Lion. All come from Sky Safari. There is Moonscape, which is really, really cool to see. Brand new special shape with us. So getting the last few balloons either off and into position, or rather off the field launching, or some will be moving perhaps to the east edge of the field along in front of Main Street where they will stay on static display. For the spectators, again, it's time for you to be picking aside, east, west, north, or south. Again, if you're taking photographs, I would suggest the east side because the sun will be behind you and will light the balloons very nicely. If you're looking for a place to just sit and relax and enjoy the rest of the morning, the competition, we do have those new bleachers over along the western arroyo. near where the pilot briefing tent is, and you're welcome to take a seat in the bleachers and watch as the competitors fly in. So we're going to get all of that set up. The flagging is pretty much in place, it looks like. So again, a reminder, if you're a spectator, please stay out of the flagging area. I see some of the mounted patrol are down there as well. Our local law enforcement folks on horseback, they're always a crowd favorite. They are helping us to move the crowd and get the flagging area set up. That area has to be sterile, meaning no one except Balloon Fiesta officials are allowed inside of the flagging area for the scoring, because the balloon pilots, they have to remain 75 feet high over the crowd. That's the purpose of those pylons that you see at each corner of the field. Those big white pylons with the red and white stripes at the tops. Those are 75 feet tall, so that's a visual aid to help the pilots know as they come in over the crowd how high the bottom of their basket should be, no lower than the top of that pylon. However, once they're inside the flagging area, they can get right down to the deck. As long as they don't touch the ground, they can get right down there in order to make the best marker throw possible. So again, we ask you to cooperate with us and move where you're outside of the flagging area so that we can get this morning's competition underway. We'll be getting word. Actually, now that Art's gone, I realize I don't have radio communication to the Balloon Meister. He's here. I'll check, but it'll be fairly obvious when we start to see all of the competitive balloons arriving and making their approach to the field, to the targets. So this morning, our competition, once again, is first of all the Sid Cutter Memorial. The target will be the SS Sid Cutter, the little boat that will be on the field. You can see it actually now. I've just noticed it. It's out. If you take a look at the roadway that runs through the middle of the field, north and south, just to our left from the rooftop studio, and then we have the minor roads that cut east to west. It's right down at the intersection in probably the last east-west road, and right up against the road going north-south. It's sitting right near the intersection of the road. See that balloon that is black with the two-tone green spires on it out in the field? It's almost directly below that balloon right now. So that's where the boat is. And again, the object, the best possible score, is to get your marker right on the bow of the boat. If it hits the boat and slides off, you're in the water and you'll still score, but you'll get a 300 point or foot penalty. Then south of that, coming closer to us, or to me now on the rooftop studio, there will be two other targets. The pilots are free to throw at either of those targets. They can take their choice. And then once they clear the flagging area coming south, this large part of the south end of the launch field will be open for landing. So I don't really encourage a lot of spectators to be in that area, because that's going to get very, very busy eventually with balloons landing and deflating there. So your best viewpoints are going to be east, maybe down at the north end. Relax. You might have to be staring into the sun, though, this morning if you're on the west side of the field, but there's for you. So that's the setup. So the pilots will be throwing two markers this morning, one at the boat, that'll be orange, and then any other color marker will be acceptable on either one of the two targets south of that. Here in the south portion of the launch field, just in front of Corporate Row. West the Wolf, high overhead, there is Wilma, as we mentioned. Andrew Holly, good morning, Andrew. Once again, a shout out to Roma, my niece, Andrew's daughter, over in the UK, watching us this morning. There is Simbaloo, so a lot of the Sky Safari team. And they'll be doing special shape later this week. In fact, just got word last night he's going to be heading off to Phoenix to pick it up after tomorrow's flight, and then hopefully back with it Wednesday morning, or certainly for the yeah, Art is on his way with one of our camera crew down onto the field. Art will be right out by the boat, so he can bring us all the activity. Those of you online, or if you prefer to watch the video ball during the course of the morning, we'll be bringing you all the action from right down up close to the target. So we're going to get set for that. I'm looking to probably have some special guests here with me on the tower in a short time frame now, as we get set to transition from Fiesta flying to competition flying. So just a quick word down to the truck. step away and take a quick break while we transition the field. We'll keep the live feed up. Art will be down at the target, and we'll be both back with you very, very shortly as we start the competition phase. This morning, it's Monday morning, day 3 of the 51st Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. We are powered by ExxonMobil, both the Balloon Fiesta and Balloon Fiesta Live. We'll be back with you in just a few minutes, everybody. Stay tuned.
In real life, you just don't see them pictures. No! God dang it. I hate when I press that wrong stupid ass button. So annoying. Bad finger. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna make it, man. We run out of fuel by the time we get over here. Alright, let's do what I said. Hold up. There we go. I gotta go the other way a little bit more. See, you're like getting different winds than I am, and then
I got you.
one you go this way, one I go that way, and then you're going the way I went, and then it's vice versa, and then I don't know what the hell. That's crazy. I'm on 27% fuel. We got a wind from the northwest right now at 4. What I kind of need at the moment. I'm gonna have to just make my run for it and land. There's no wind up here, right here in this area. It's stationary. So there goes nothing.
So we are now live from the center of the field, just a few feet away from the boat. In fact, let me switch around over here so you can see the USS Sid Cutter. This is the primo target for the first task of our competition. And so the field is now open. Pilots are going to be coming in towards us. The idea is to try and get the marker right here on this part of the boat. So when the marker hits here, that's the closest you can get. If you want to swing that way, Eddie, to the target, to the X. So we're going to measure from the center of that. The shortest distance is right here. But if the marker falls off and goes down into the grass, that's like going into the water. There will be 300 feet added to that distance. Of course, in the boat, that's still pretty close, but that's the best score is going to be right there. And we've got one coming in right now over the top of us. We'll see what they're going to do. So the first balloon, banner number 540. Oh, no marker. But that was a perfect line to be able to get right into the boat. That would have been. And of course, they dropped the air markers. They had no marker to drop that. There are other places out here to drop your markers. You can drop on the land mass, which is just north of the boat. There are 2 areas that now show up as islands, and then that's all just part of the Sid Cutter Memorial Pass. A little bit farther south and a little bit farther to the east and the west are 25-foot X's that you can now throw a different color marker on and be scored in that. 2 opportunities for scoring here this morning. The Meow Wolf balloon is going to come down the far west side of the field.
Yeah, I'm not going to make it.
And I do see a purple one. I'm going to switch around this way. I do see a purple and yellow. I can do that, guys. See if that's bent. Okay. Let me just wrap up this cord so I can grip on it. So we have a purple and yellow and orange racer that is coming in. The racer being more the cylindrical shape. And he has got a great line coming in here on the boat. So we'll watch that. Some of our Rainbow Riders balloons, our ride balloons that took off from the center of the field, have managed to play the box and will be coming back over. They are not part of the competition. That's going to be a challenge for us today to be able to identify who is actually participating in the competition and who is just flying back over as part of the fun flyers. Back a little bit farther off to the west part of the field, I see Blair Kaufman in his Hearts balloon. It's the purple, pink, and teal balloon with the purple hearts. And the red, white, and blue Don Chalmers balloon that we talked about earlier this morning. They took off from the field, and so they're not part of the competition, but they have managed to box back around to be able to fly over the field. Even if you're not part of the competition, you're still up there, you can still come back to the field. Now the racer we were watching, the purple one with the yellow and the orange, he's drifting to the west, so he will not have to throw on the boat, but he may have one that will get over to the island and be able to throw a marker there. I see one hand on the burner, I see one hand on the vent line as they continue to maneuver. We'll kind of watch and see whether they actually throw a marker on what would be the island. Some extra bending going on, which means leaving some heat out of the top. Let it run. But you don't want too much, so you put a little extra heat in. We'll keep watching. I don't see a marker in hand. So he's now past the island. He may be going just directly for the X, or just to land. Actually, you know what? I think that balloon actually did take off from the field. Banner 167, the turquoise, pink, and black, coming down more the east side, would have a decent line on the X. And that should be, it's either David or Ray Bear dropping in the kaleidoscope-looking balloon. They're going to be right along the crowd line on the east side. Not really in a scoring position. And what a great view for our ride balloons coming right over the target area. Again, not part of the competition, but giving folks on the bucket list the ability to just come right in through and see what it's like to be in the competition. We usually get them in like waves of 2, 3, or 4. That's kind of what's happening right down the eastern side. The green, blue, and yellow, and then right next to that is kind of a zigzag pattern going up with the flame type colors at the bottom and the colors at the top, and the yellow and red balloon way over on the far side. They're going to come down the eastern side and not have a great shot on the balloon, on the great shot at the boat. But I am watching a racer come at us that may have a nice shot. It's one of those racers that, depending the angle you're looking at, changes colors. The one that's coming right at me is more of a blue and purple and silver. But if you're on the east side looking at the balloon, it's red and pink. If you're on the west side looking at the balloon, it's going to be yellow and orange. Fly these racer balloons a little more cylindrical. They can go up and down a little bit faster and not have the distortion of the balloon fabric. And then they also can fly solo, which also gives you the ability to have a little bit more maneuverability. Definitely over the flanking area now. Over the landmass, which would be a safe drop if you wanted to. So coming down now, you can come down to the ground, but you can't touch the ground without being assessed some level of penalty. So a little burn, a little too much burn. Grab the vent, keep it level.
Man, 12% fuel, bro. I don't know how.
So coming right by the edge, marker in hand, orange one, which is the one. Oh, and threw it right off. Ian Whitling. Sorry, Ian. Perfect pass. Perfect pass for Ian Whitling. So, again, the marker is outside the boat in what would be considered the water. So that will be scored to the center of the X, and then 300 feet will be added to that. So He's still in first place. He's the only one that's thrown a marker so far. Oh yes, definitely the agony of defeat when you realize that you have thrown too late and the momentum of your balloon and the baggie goes right over the side of the boat and drops in what we consider to be the water.
So Art, just FYI, I'm back with you on the tower here, and yeah, that was an exciting throw. Just missed the boat.
And while we talk about this more, we talk about it every year. The balloon is moving at whatever the speed of the wind. And so when you let go of the marker, it's going to continue at that same speed until gravity takes over and it drops fully. And so that's exactly what happened. Ian was dead even with the boat when he let loose the marker. So the momentum carried it to the edge and off into the water.
Yeah, that's always a danger, especially if you have to throw from any kind of altitude. Of course, today there's no wind, so the marker will fall basically straight down. But on days when you have wind, the marker actually flies and will have some forward movement, just as the balloon does. I've always said you have to learn to kind of throw before you get to the target and let the marker fly to the target just as the balloon does. If you wait till you're right over the target and throw, your marker will go past it.
The look of disappointment on Ian's face as he realized that that's what happened. Oh, man, I feel for Ian.
Oh, you worked so hard to get in that perfect spot. Yeah, that's a shame.
So the black and white, gray, and pink one is going to be the next line. It looks like they're starting to drift a little bit to the west, but there is another multicolor zigzag pattern dropping in behind him as well. The blue and yellow one's going to be far too west to actually throw on the boat. They'll have the opportunity to throw on the island. So we'll continue to watch this black and white, gray with the pink checkerboard stair steps going up. They're going to be coming right down the road, so it's going to take a little wing of the marker.
I got a touch. No.
That's when you make that slight adjustment, maybe, 10, 15 feet up or down sometimes, and move them just a few feet left or right.
Ooh.
Yeah, so they're just waving at us with the balloon behind them. Yeah.
Oh,
we're going to get a wind-up balloon. Pick up the other one up this way, Eddie. Here's the wind-up.
Yep, we can see it on the screen.
The idea is to be able to get it to fling.
Oh, that's funny, bro.
Oh!
Oh, just between the boat and the X.
Yeah. You know, if this were just a typical X competition, measuring from the center, that would be great.
Yes.
And it will get measured to the center. The problem is it's in the water, it's going to get 300 feet.
The wind's like
exactly.
just went crazy.
Yep.
Just heads up when you come in this
Otherwise,
little
you're right. That would have been a really good throw on a standard competition.
I'm down here waiting on you. That's insane.
Coming in from the north, a little bit of the east side, I see the yellow balloon with the black mustache. That's Guilty and Zarek Wells. Zarek had a really great pass a couple of years ago, actually hit the boat with his marker, and it slid off.
I ended up in this football stadium.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I'm going to have to repair some of the damage.
So we'll see. It looks like he might have. And you know what? For the last few years, we've had this little phenomenon here that I can't explain. And one day I'm going to get Brad Teemeyer to help us figure it out. It seems if you come down east of this north-south road, you get pushed to the east. If you're west of the road, you get pushed more to the west. And so it's kind of like there's not. They can be coming down either side of the road and all of a sudden do this split around the boat.
Well,
and I'm not sure what causes that, but that's almost what's happening right now.
Well, we learned in ground school how the sun heats the earth, and it will heat a grass area versus an asphalt area differently. The asphalt will absorb more of the heat and then reflect more of it. And I'm wondering if maybe that's the case, where there might be a little bit of a difference in the heat coming off the green grass field versus the asphalt road, and maybe that there's sort of an invisible dividing wall there.
Yeah, that wind, man. That
You
thing,
might
like,
be
it
right.
tunneled me.
We're going to talk about
Straight-
this
straight, like,
teal
tunneled me
pink
into
one
the
going to come
freaking
in on
bleachers.
the east side of the road. He's going to be able to
It's a
just
bad
drop
idea.
his marker into the island area. And you
There it
see,
goes.
boom, just drop it right there. That's going to be a great score. That, again, will be measured back to the center of the X here by the boat, but because it's on land, it does not have that 300-foot penalty added.
Right. You know, I'm looking for the downwind targets to the south, and I haven't been able to locate them just yet. I'm missing my
Yeah,
binoculars.
you went too far.
Um,
You still make it.
Well, the balloon that threw the marker on the land just threw on the X.
Oh,
And I
okay.
think he's fairly close. The X's are just a little bit farther to the east or west of the island marker scoring areas.
I think I see the one. It's a little closer. It's not that far from the boat, but it is to the south.
Man, you
of
got
the
a
boat,
whole
I
north
believe.
wind now, huh? Man, that sucks. If you came close, you're like, I get a shot of you. Hold on.
Yeah, I think I see them both now. Okay. I was
So
just trying to
Zarek
eyeball that.
Yeah, Zarek continues to have a good line coming in. Again, the yellow balloon with the mustache.
That's guilty.
He'll be the next one to the boat. But he's getting a little push back to the east.
Right.
Behind him is
So,
a little
there's a
cloud
little
hopper
small
or chair
field here.
balloon. Yellow, green, and blue vertical panels. Zarek's going up, I think, to see if he can get that push back to the west.
Yeah, landing's gonna be difficult. You got that little spot right here. You got a couple little grass areas back here. I mean, even if you have to like
Looking
come
high
down
overhead,
And
I
the
see
chair
Ken.
balloon getting that same push.
Sorry, looking high overhead, I see Ken drawn in his yellow balloon with the red and blue interlocking
Oh, there's
diamonds.
power
He's
lines
making
right
a
here.
descent
Be careful.
down into the field. Joe Zavada is up in that high altitude as well in a black, silver, and yellow spiral balloon. And Cameron Wall is overhead, a little to the west in his balloon with that seascape artwork from his grandmother.
There's power lines
So
right
three
here.
of the competitors
so probably
up
no
high.
go.
Tall Steve is
Your
up there
best
trying
bet
to
is
find
to
his
try
way in
to
too. Although he launched from the
go
field,
for
but
this
he's
back
one
here.
of the Fiesta flyers.
This is your best bet.
So Zarek just kind of looked as he goes by the boat.
Is that his marker I see? No,
He'll
that was
probably
a-
try and drop on the island.
He was lined up with a light pole from my viewpoint. I thought he had his marker hanging over the basket, but now I see on screen that he doesn't.
No, you got a spot right here too.
So
Only
you were
thing
talking
is
about
that
Ken
it's
and
power
Joe.
lines.
They're still moving out to
So
the
you're
north.
in the right direction, past
Although
this
Ken's
up,
now
and
starting
then
to
there's
drop.
a field
They're
right
still
here.
kind of trying to get a little farther north before they come in.
This is your target area right here.
So where is the track? Is it from the northwest
You
to
got a pretty
southeast?
good
as,
little spot, and you got
Brad
power
told us it
lines
likely
that are
would
like
be?
right here. But I know you can land within all this.
Yes, when you want to come down to really be in nice scoring position, here within the first 100 feet, as you can see Zarek going right over the island and the chair balloon coming, the hopper coming in right behind him. If you want to be at that level, then it's pretty much north to south. Again, there's a little bit of east push when you come in on the north end of the field. Unless you're on the other side and you get pushed west, as we talked about. There's Zarek winding up his yellow marker. That will be on the X, so the second task.
Right.
And wind it faster, faster, faster. And there it goes. We're not close enough to see how good or how close it is to the center of the X for Zarek, but he has gone on that one. Now Joe Zavada has dropped in. Ken is still hanging up there. Joe, of course, in the black, white, and gold and silver spiral or stair-step type racer.
Ken's dropping it sharply now, too, again, in that yellow blue, the interlocking red and blue diamonds.
Remember that the winds are light and variable out here, and so they keep changing. I'm watching the red, white, and blue Don Chalmers balloon, which is just east of Ken, and the yellow one. And Chalmers is dropping at about the same speed Ken is and starting to get pushed off to the west. And that's exactly what's happened to Ken. Now, Joe in the black and gold stair-step balloon doesn't have that push over there. He's kind of basically coming straight south at us.
Well, and he was just a little bit
Ken's
to the
going
east.
up and going to try again.
Yeah, Joe was a little to the east of Ken when they both began to drop.
my
Cameron
drone out
Wall
for
is
you.
dropping
100%
now
you got it.
in his seabed balloon
Just
there.
microburn.
Both Cameron and Ken are a little bit west of the boat. So I think they're going to, Ken at least is going to go up and see if he can find more. Now I keep watching. Up high, you can still get back over to the east. So you kind of roll over to the east to come back down to get a better line.
I was going to say, it looks like you really want to be approaching from the east and then sliding west toward the boat.
Right now, I think you're right. There's a nice throw just outside. It's from the yellow racer, mostly yellow at the top and the bottom, and then the orange, all the rainbow colors going up the center. Way up high, there is a balloon that's just kind of parked up there. It's green and yellow. It's got some purple and blue in it. He's got his marker hanging over the side of the basket. I don't know if you can get all the way up to that one up there, Eddie. He's got a marker hanging off the side, it appears. I don't know if he'll drop from up there. It's okay to drop from there.
Spot right here, son. If you can't
Well,
drop
especially
it right
on a day like
Can
today,
you drop from up there?
when there's not a lot of wind, because the marker won't travel a great deal, even if it has to fall a few hundred feet.
But now we're going to get back to Joe Zavada, because coming across the road, he's kind of defied that little change. And so he is now has a direct line right on the boat. Joe again is in the black, yellow, white, and silver stair-step racer.
Yep, we've got him on screen now.
Yeah, they got a street light. You'll have those little bumps to slow you down, but it is what it is.
So Joe Zavada, no pressure on Joe.
People in the pool.
Coming right to the back of the boat.
Right over the and threw it right up in the front.
Yeah. So
nice shot, Joe.
Nicely done, Joe. He went for the safe throw to get in the boat rather than try and hit the bow and maybe have it slide off.
Exactly. So hit the boat, get it in. It's not going to fall out of the boat. He's in. Coming down on the east side of the field, it's Michael Glenn, our wheelchair pilot, if you will. He's in the well, it's that rainbow color balloon. He's going to be able right over the island on the west side. And of course, Sol Air coming in, dropping in one of the Hartzell balloons on line a little high. It's okay to throw from up there, but we'll see what happens.
I think we've got John Petrin in that yellow racer with the black and green spiral stripe out there.
Power lines right there.
He'll be coming toward you in just a few minutes.
We'll watch for when they get closer. Yeah.
All right,
this appears to be Joe Hartzell in that Hartzell balloon, but Sean Rea in the Sol Air balloon is going to get here first.
These little straight myrtle trees right here. Don't worry
Not
about
that
those.
timing matters, it's all distance.
All right. Chest white.
So look at this. Here's another one right on. And Sean's going to looks like, even up on the edge.
Put it on the dashboard of the boat.
Edge. Yep. And right behind him, Joe Hartzell. So now you get those things that in the boat is good, but it doesn't win. Now you've got to go for the bow. Look at this.
Joe. Look at Joe.
This. Reach out and set it on the bow.
Joe Hartzell.
Nice shot, Joe. Get out of his way.
Wow.
Good job, bro.
Perfect. I mean, that could only be maybe 6 inches further out to the bow, but that's perfect.
That's the mooring rope. That's what it does. It's so stupid, but it fixed that shit.
And you noticed he brought it, he was so close that he literally could just set it out.
Yep.
There wasn't going to be
that's
a
how far we
slide.
landed
No,
from each other.
he didn't have to throw or put any momentum into the baggie. He just literally almost reached out and set it there like he'd set it on a desk.
Like I should just
almost
came
set
down
it
all the way when I did.
Almost set it, yeah. What a great pass from Joe.
So, Joe Zavada threw in the boat, and then right behind him, Sean Rea put his on the dashboard even closer to the front, and then Joe put it right on the bow. So Joe Zavada lost 3 places in a matter of seconds.
We can kind of
exactly.
see what we can go, see what we can do with it. have some good time and good fun.
And we're about to have another group of 4 or 5 come right at us as well.
All that good shit. So then I gotta go to work tonight. And then
That Joe Hartzell drop is going to be tough to
an
beat.
awesome
Yeah,
flight.
that is.
Flying with you, my boy, and you 4%.
I'm
Yeah,
curious,
that was
is this
actually
like
But we
in,
saw
Yeah,
exactly
like
how
I
to
said.
do it.
is this like in curling? Could someone
Hot
come
air
along and
balloon
put their
flying?
marker on there and knock Joe's off?
That's hard. That shit ain't easy.
You know, I'd have to talk to the scoring people to see how that would work. Yeah, that's
You
good.
got
That would be
yourself
an
a good day,
interesting
my boy.
question.
You know, especially if
Well,
someone
Alex
made a
later
slight
on.
throw, they tossed their
And,
marker and they hit Joe's and knocked it off, but it stopped theirs and kept theirs on
Let's
the
recruit,
bow. I wonder how that would be
More
scored.
balloons in the air. This is your boy, by your man.
We'd have to
Damien.
get
I
a
hope you have
ruling
an
for
awesome
sure, and
Yeah.
I would bet
Monday.
that there'd be a lot of
We'll be
discussion
back
about that.
again
I'm
tonight
sure there would
This
be.
is
8
banner number
p.m.
5, the
Central
yellow
Standard
one
Time
with the green and black.
in Savannah,
And it
Georgia.
does appear to be Johnny
On the
I was
Petrie.
going to say, I
first
think Johnny
ever
Petron's in
Microsoft
that
Flight
balloon.
Simulator hot air balloon tour of the 50 states until we get to Albuquerque. Have a good one.
And he's going to
See
drop
y'all
right
later.
in on us.
That